Oh, what's going on, guys? What's happening? Everybody. Oh, the audio's working. Live stream's working. I didn't realize I had the speaker still on that one over there. Um, man, everybody's jumped in the air this evening. What's going on? Renee, Clerks 93. Man, we got a whole bunch of you up in there. Queens of Drone Age. What's going on? Richard Spratt. The last video was amazing. Thank you, sir. Lucky Ball just saw it. What's going on, Lucky? Renee's in there. Hello, folks. What's going on? Photograph, Light, and Magic. Hi, Chris. Hope you are well. I am well, thank you. Doing good. Just choked down some pizza before coming in here. So, yeah, I'm doing better now. All the talk last time we were here on your stream, everybody's talking about food. So I said, well, I got to eat something, right? Queen of Drone Age taking the new Mars vid. Clerks 93 chilling. Nacho, what's going on? Woohoo, about to go live. Mulder, bonjour. What's going on, man? Good to have you in there. Eagle One, there he is. Always remind me when you say Eagle One. First thing I think of is Space 1999. Blue Utopia, what's going on, Mikael? Good to see you in there. Warm here as well. Actually got up to 91. It's actually been starting to cool off here, which is good. You know, it's been like 87, 91, 93 Fahrenheit. So, yeah, it's a little toasty, but not too bad. Cascales. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. Hi, Chris. And all at the Mars Anomalies chat room. Good evening to you. Richard, what's going on? Richard Frost. Pete Johnson, good evening. How are you? Tommy, what's going on, man? Good to have you in there, man. Yeah, I don't want to make that video, the last video, too long, only because I was trying to get these, kind of like last week, I did the same thing. I was trying to get these done. Long week again. I'm like, man, I got to get at least 2 of them in there, just so, you guys didn't think I got abducted by, the Men in Black or something. I said, well, we'll go ahead and put another one out for you guys this evening. So, or this afternoon it was. Power Play at 1979. Hello, Chris. What's going on? Good to have you in there. 1010 Cray. 1010. Good evening from Bonnie, Scotland. Good to have you in there from across the big old pond. Mike Hoover in the house. What's happening, Mike? Brett, what's going on? Good to have you in there. It is, Renee. It is. Space 1999 is Uncommon TV. You're right. Nacho, thank you, sir. Appreciate the support. Keep up the great work. Love it and love the live stream. Thanks for all you are doing for us. Well, I appreciate you guys and appreciate you guys being here, right? Like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, the channel wouldn't be here, right? It's simple facts. Keep up the great work, Johnny Brandon says. Thank you, sir. Greetings from Orlando, Florida. Like your show very much. Thank you. I hope everybody's going to be doing well down there, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in the Bahamas. That's just insane. The devastation that's going on in those islands and everything else. I can't even imagine. I've seen videos of it and how they're getting pummeled down there, and I would not want to be there. So my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody over there, and including some of the people in the eastern part of Florida. My daughter lives down in there in Florida, but she's on the Gulf Coast, and she's down the second inlet in Florida. She's next to the Punta Gorda area, but not there. But you get the idea. So she might just get a lot of rain, a lot of wind, but that's about it. Nothing major. We thought for sure the way they were talking. Remember this? It looked like it was going to plow right over Florida, and that doesn't look like it's the case at all. Thank God for that. But like I said, everybody be careful. Just be safe. Photography Light Magic. I had a wee look at your Mars image, and that seems to look like a crank from an engine, doesn't it? It has them weird, you know, uh, balance basically pieces in there, and it's just weird the way that thing looked. Now, is it? It just has that look about it. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it does look mechanical, right? I mean, I looked at that thing, I was like, what could that possibly be? So, the other sub there, he's definitely spot on. And so I appreciate you guys doing that kind of stuff because, listen, sometimes we don't see the obvious. And, when you point stuff out like that, I know somebody got mad. There's one of the subs that got mad and said, what's with all the lines on that photo? It's like, well, the guy was doing the best they can to point this stuff out, right? And I wanted to give full credit to the person, I don't want to just leave it and say, well, I'll circle it myself and make it look like I did the work. That's not fair to that person. So that's why I did that. I just go ahead and put their photo on there so everybody can see that. And, sometimes, I can look at things and not see it. But, when somebody circles, oh, okay, I see what they're saying now. I'm all, Pete, you put on there, I'm all good. Thank you. First night after 4 12-hour shifts. Man, I don't know how you can do it. God bless you. Mike, you put on the best place to be on a Sunday night. I agree, man. A lot of times I'm not doing a whole lot. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. Some things, yes and no. A lot of science programs, things like that. So we like to, do that once in a while. But we don't get on there and watch a lot of that sitcom stuff and a lot of news garbage and everything else. So I like being on here with you guys. It's awesome. Graham Coward. I like your vids. Look forward when you post. You go on into detail on things, and I don't see until you pointed things out from. Okay, G3B16. Well, see, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like sometimes some people get mad. Oh, what's with all the lines? It's like, well, sometimes people don't see it. Especially if you're on the smaller objects. Whether you're on a phone or tablet. Somebody actually got mad at me for that too. It's like, a lot of times I can't see it on a phone. Well, there's only one way to record it, man. And a lot of times people have PCs or a lot bigger. Like I got a tablet here too. And, so I've got that here and I've got the other computer over there. And I can see my videos pretty done well on them. I wouldn't use a phone. It's like trying to watch a football or a baseball game on. It's like, yeah, you can watch it, but how big is it? You know what I mean? It's just, even if it's decent quality, it's not the same as watching a larger screen, right? Marcus, you put on there. Hi, Chris. Are you well? Absolutely. Fab channel. Thank you. Appreciate that. 786 Auto. Hello, Chris. What's going on? Good to see you in there, man. It just jumped up on me, so forgive me for that. Hi from Northern Ireland, Stan. What's going on, Stan? Good to have you in there. Bush Corey. Hey, Chris. Watching from London. Great to see your best YouTube channel by miles. I appreciate that, man. We do our best, right? I did, Nacho. I did read that. Chris, did you read the John Lair thing? Wife pistol whipped him and holds him against his will. It's insane reading. Yeah, I know. After you said that, I went and checked it out. I was like, what? What is going on in that situation? Wow. Crazy stuff there, I can't even imagine being in that situation, but you can see how he progressed and went with each of those, comments in each day that he did it. Wow. That's crazy. Andrew. Hi, Chris. Liked your moon video. The moon video. I appreciate it, Andrew. Glenn Judd. Hi, buddy. Western Washington. Well, glad to have you in there. At least it's a little early for you, right? A little bit. WTF is that? Did you hear Richard Dolan's vid calling out the BSers of ufology? It's good. No, I don't think I've seen it. I have to check that out. John Devon, keep all our eyes peeled. Absolutely. Richard, you put on there. Hi, Chris. Great work, and thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for everyone. Well, like I said, I mean, I enjoy it. Something I like to do anyway, right? So I said, you know what? Why not just start doing it? And because, like I said, because you guys, the subs are on here, that's what makes it worth it. You can't just make videos for no one, right? So that's why I said it's basically your channel as well. That's the way I feel about it. Yeah, you're right about that, Nacho. You said it. You told Mike Hoover, go look at his Facebook page and read. It's insane. Yeah, wow. Mark, thank you for joining us, man. You said hi, Chris. Just come on from Wales, UK. Good to have you in there. Richard Frost, you put Chris. Do you know much about John Lair Walson? I thought he finished 5 years ago, but found new stuff on another channel tonight. Is it him? To be truthful, I don't know. I mean, I read up on him after all this BS was going on lately, and like I said, I mean, I know the guy was a test pilot. He did all kinds of stuff. He's in the know, so to speak, from what I read. But yeah, I mean, if it's new stuff, I haven't seen it. To be truthful with you, I don't know. But I did read up on him and his stuff. Some of the stuff he's actually going through. But yeah, so if he's got new stuff, I haven't seen it to be honest. Mike Hoover, you put on there, Lair was dead ass serious when he said we have 40 plus planets in our solar system. He knows or truly believes. Well, I don't know how many people knew that we had two moons. We got one that's way out there and it's elliptical as opposed to the one we have right next to us, our next door neighbor, right? And there are more than just our nine, sometimes eight planets, depending on you count Pluto. So there's a lot more people, and they're starting to see more and more. I heard a scientist who was like last year saying that there's many more in our solar system. We automatically just count the ones that we have, meaning okay, we can see them from Earth, and either way, either towards the sun or towards Pluto. And yeah, I mean, but are they saying? Maybe they were just saying that because, the orbits and they would seem to be so much farther away that they think, maybe it's not in our solar system. But now they're starting to realize maybe it is. And there's a lot more going on than we thought, right? I don't know. Doc Chuck, little Chuck, you put on there that one photo with the writing on it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, see, this is what I mean, guys. When you start to break down these photos, right, and you start to see these, you burn away some of the garbage that they threw over it, and again, it's about the lines. You start to see the shapes. You start to see other these weird things come out of nowhere. Absolutely. And and I don't even know what's going to be there. To be truthful with you guys, I have no idea. I just go, let me just see if there's anything on these photos worth looking at. And when I saw that first time, just a stock photo, I was like, wow, that's amazing. It actually looked like they had that side silhouette type thing of a human face. And then the more you got into this thing and found lines and pulled them out and all this other stuff, it became something different. But it could be either or, right? So if that's the case, then either way, there's something else in there, right? It looks intelligently made as far as I'm concerned. So yeah. Kenneth Riley, good to have you in there, man. Good evening, Chris from UK. Good video. Thank you, sir. Jean Devon, you put on, yes, always a great hangout. Well, got great people. That's what happens. Especially when you have to walk on eggshells or anything like that, depending on what you say, right? I see your last video, Chris. You're right. It looks like structures in some kind of spacecraft. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will say, well, he thinks he sees this or it's pareidolia. And listen, again, we can't know exactly what these things are. There's just no way to check them out. It's as simple as that, right? So all you can do is say, this is what it appears to look like, or this might be. In other words, it's nothing definitive, right? It's just you're saying, this is what it looks like. Is it possible it's this? There's no way to say yes. There's no way to say, oh, absolute. There's not, One guy actually knocked me and said, this guy don't even know the first thing about when I put on their Mars decimated, he says he needs to learn the actual meaning of it. Well, I don't know. I can look it up right here, and it says kill, destroy, or remove a large percentage or part of. That pretty much sums up the video. I mean, it's all you can get on it, right? Last time I looked up the word, that's what it said to me, or meant to me. Renee, you put on there, I used to watch Space 1999 on Sci-Fi Saturn Sunday on various PBS stations in the 80s and 90s. They showed Gary Anderson's other television puppet shows, the Thunderbird, Stingray. Yep. I remember all of those. I don't know. I used to, especially like I said, the very first pilot one they made, right? The breakaway, when it had the explosion on the moon, and of course that's how it broke away from Earth's atmosphere or the orbit rather. So it was pretty cool. John Beck, thank you, sir, for the support. Thank you for the videos and showing your methodology for unmasking NASA's photos. Well, I believe in just passing the stuff on if I can. That's just one of the ways I showed you in the last one, how you can try to bring some of the stuff out. Doesn't always work like that. It depends on what you see in the photo, like Mars, some of the moon. It depends on what you see. And it takes different ways to actually enhance the stuff or bring it out, right? Um, so I figured I'd show you guys that. And, so if it helps anybody else along that they want to do the same, there you go, right? Spot 'em, got 'em. Much love, brother. It's Spot 'em, got 'em, bro. What's going on? Good to have you there. Oh, right, I hear you. Phone crash. What I missed? Not a whole lot. A lot of you guys just kicking it back and forth, and we're having a good time here. Just you know, Mike Hoover, you said on there. I believe that's why they spray chemtrails to blind us from what's truly there. I believe, and you know what? I think it's that as well as to control or do something with the temperature here on Earth, right? To either stop, you know, I don't know if you want to call it global warming, right? Because a lot of people are on the fence about that. I believe that the solar system, and that's a fact though, that again, every 11 years, the sun gets, goes through its cycle every 11 years. And of course, every planet, not just Earth, every planet here in the solar system heats up. So there you go. But I think we have a large part to pay and play in that. Yeah, paying it. And we are paying for it. Right? But you've got this the CO2 in the air and stuff like that. It travels around the Earth. And it basically drops back down to Earth as like a black soot kind of thing. And of course, black on ice. What's going to happen? So it's going to accelerate the melting. And of course, so in other words, we're not the sole reason for this. It's got a lot to do with the sun. But yeah, I mean, I think it stops a lot of people from seeing what may be really out there. Who the heck knows? It's hard to tell, right? American Rebel, hello, Chris. Good to have you in there, brother. Good to see you in there. John Devon, yeah. Went to 91 degree here in Los Angeles. The air conditioner here is too cold. Well, I don't usually have mine too cold either. I try to have it where it's comfortable, like 75, 76 degrees. I know some people, I walk in their house and they got them set at 68 and I go, Jesus, you got to be kidding. I wonder why that electric bill is through the roof, right? Bye, going in. Well, it must be on break, right, John? Good to see you in there, man. I'm glad you stopped in. Let's see. MC Gamer. Hey, would it be great if the community here could subscribe to my channel? I live stream PS4 games. I would appreciate it. Well, drop the link. I mean, if anybody's interested in the gaming and stuff like that, yeah, sure. I don't see why they'd have a problem with it. Or maybe their kids, if it's good, clean fun on the PS4, yeah, drop a link. I'll pass the channel. I'll even my nephews do that. They actually play games on there and do it live and stuff like that. That's not a rock you put on there. Hi, Chris. Have you ever compared the same area from different sols to find potential movement on the surface of Mars? I have and found movement of objects. Yeah, I've done that a couple times where sometimes it's not enough difference to tell. In other words, it might be just nothing more than shadows, right? It's a different time of day, or the Curiosity rover's moved or what have you. It might have moved a little bit, thrown off the shadows. It appears it moved. I have, but sometimes it's hard to determine if it was actual movement or the actual camera position, right? Lancaster Rowentingen, if I'm pronouncing it right. Hey, Chris, huge fan. Thank you. I appreciate that. 1010 Cray, you put on there. Ever wonder what alien species might make of seeing how orbiters and landers spreading throughout the solar system? We have now done what we would condemn another species for doing to Earth landing. Well, Yes and no. I mean, yeah, I mean, can you imagine that though? But they're probably saying, "Oh, look at these poor people. They're like little children. They're coming out to take a look. They can't do it themselves, and they're sending little robots and orbiters and all this other stuff." And they're probably just saying, "You know what? Just let them have a look. What do we got to fear? They're not going to do anything to us. So, and if they do anything or try anything, we'll just blow it out of the sky." I mean, who the hell knows? It's hard to tell. If some of these planets do in fact have life on them, wouldn't surprise me, right? Mike Hoover, want to say, Chris, thanks for following your uh, which created the boat we all sail on. Thanks, Captain Chris. Hi, matey. Oh, that might be a little wrong there. Oh, he's a pirate. Oh, Abs03, Abs03, Abs, well, 0303. Good to see you there, man. Lucky Mo, you put on there, Chris, have you tried decoding NASA's PDS files? They often have more data in them than the blurry JPEGs, but not always. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at them, and I'll be honest with you. I look at them, yeah, they're more cleaner to a certain degree, but if you really look at them, guess what? They've really been smoothed over. So in other words, you're not going to find anything in them. That's why sometimes it's better to go with the low res. Most people would say, "No, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Go for the better quality." And as a rule, I'll go with the TIFF. Right? At least that's a better one compared to a JPEG. But I find the more high quality, the more they're going to do their best to hide whatever's there. Now that's not always the case, like you said. Sometimes you go to the some of these PDS files, and sometimes you can still find these things in the photo. So yeah, sometimes it's worth doing it. Sometimes not so much because, like I said, on a low res photo, you can almost see how exactly where they've done their manipulations and covered over things and so on and so forth. Right. So yeah, Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey is in the house. I remember Star Fox never got to the boss though. Yeah, exactly. Poor guy tried over and over and couldn't do it. They are more in control than that. Oh, I guarantee they are. I've been looking into that, Lancaster. You said on there, are you going to be doing more videos on Mercury? There was definitely a lot there. Oh, yeah. We'll be definitely bouncing around. Spot him, got him. At ease, Captain Niner Tango Delta. Yeah, Steve Schuster, you put on there. Obviously, they're hiding something they don't want us to see. High resolution pictures. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've seen many of these these really, really good quality photos, right? And you can still see where they've hidden it, but because they smooth it over a lot better, and therefore it's a lot less obvious. So it's harder to pull these things out, right? Hope L, yeah. What do you think about the face they found in Antarctica? I have seen that video, and that is pretty wild. I have to admit that. And there was something else to the left of it, wasn't there? There was something else that they found. Not sure what that was because I took a quick glance at it. I was like, man, that is crazy. And if that is the real deal, that does make you scratch your head, don't it? Craig MP, I'm sorry, MK3 rather. They know and they know and can manipulate everything and anything before we even know it's including fields and light and thought. Perhaps that's extra dimensionally ability is. Well, here's the funny part too. Somebody had asked me something. What was it? I'm trying to remember exactly what the question was, but I've got it written down somewhere because it was kind of interesting. They were like, what do you think about different planets having life and so on and so forth? And uh, you know what? Let's suppose for a moment that we're seeing things on the moon, we're seeing things on Mars. What would happen if they saw more stuff on other planets? Do you think they're going to tell us? I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to. Hold on, let me get a little drink here. Oh yeah. Not like a little iced tea. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's something else here. What was this? I don't know if you guys heard about Titan. NASA discovers huge ice structure on Titan that shouldn't be there. Let me see here. Saturn's largest moon, Titan, is well known throughout the world. It's the solar system's second largest natural satellite and has been studied in great detail. However, something big and rather obvious has just been discovered that wasn't there before, and no one has any idea how it got there. An unexpected ice belt. Now, the weird thing about this ice belt, it's right there at the equatorial region. So they're trying to, what the hell, they're trying to figure this out. It has been discovered that the moon, Titan, has a huge ice belt near its equator, and the scientists can't figure out how it got there. Titan is a very cold moon, and so the majority. You got to remember this is on another monitor, so I'm trying to read it. It's a little smaller. Hold on, let's enlarge that just a little bit. There we go. However, most of the icy surface is covered in organic sediment that constantly rains down from the sky. There's one more part in particular that doesn't quite fit with the description, though. There's a corridor in which is about 6,300 kilometers long and equal to around 400. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I was going to say 400. 40% of the frigid moon's circumference that appears to be bare ice with no sediments. If you guys are interested in checking that out, and it goes on and on. It shows the basically the thermal imaging of the moon of Titan itself. I'll just throw it down here in the bottom in case you guys want to check it out some other time. Mike Hoover, love Little Mercury. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I mean, every time you start to look at these things, more and more things are starting to come out to the public. And it's like, wait a minute, from everything from, seeing UFOs, the Pentagon letting out these videos to things that people are seeing themselves. I think they're just going, okay, they're starting to see the obvious people. Everybody's got a camera now on their phones or whatever the hell they're looking at the sky with. It's about time we come clean, right? So, I mean, so they're kind of like squeaking it out here and there, just kind of letting it go. And, I think at some point, it's going to definitely be revealed, at least about that part. But if they do, doesn't it make sense? If they do, they're letting out a big secret if you think about it. Or, well, it's not really a secret because everybody knows about it now, right? But if they were to say, yes, there's extraterrestrial beings coming to our planet, well, then who's to say that there can't be actual life somewhere else and that they're not going to different planets in our solar system, so on and so forth? Yeah. Marcus Rossetti, forgive me, Chris. I need to go. See you in the next video. Take care. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, Marcus. You have yourself a good night there, right? Rachel, hey, Rachel, good to see you there. What happens if we humans and animals are biological robots and we are not what we think we are? The body is almost as if it's a machine, but a flesh and blood machine, and that we could all be AI. Good possibility. A lot of people say we're kind of like this almost like in the Matrix kind of thing, and that we're a computer program, or we're like a hybrid kind of thing. I don't know if anybody knows for sure, but that's a good point, Rachel. Very good point. Could very well be. And I think they were saying that anyway. Like they wanted to, if we were going to send anybody to other planets, they were hoping to send like kind of like some kind of robot or hybrid kind of thing to another planet because it'd be able to withstand, either different gravities. It didn't have to worry about gases on the planet, which, we'd have to breathe in, so on and so forth. Yeah, that would be something surprising, though. That'd be something to see or hear about. Doc, Little Chuck, you put in there, Chris, have you seen Jean Ward's latest videos, and what do you think about his findings, specifically the domes recently? I haven't actually seen it, man, to be truthful with you, but knowing Jean, he does a lot of good stuff. I mean, he finds some really good stuff and things that you'd say, okay, that doesn't really look like it's natural. Although you can see like these what look like giant boulders. He always looks from the satellite photos and crazy stuff in those things, man. If anybody gets a chance, check out his videos. He does some real good stuff. Like I said, Jean Ward is his channel and good stuff. Actually, I think it's named differently though, isn't it, Doc? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now, but he does do some pretty good stuff, I have to admit. Cascales, yeah, you put on there, Chris, they will cover to not panic people. Yeah, that's true. And it's unfortunate in a sense because I would rather them just come out with it. And I think we will get over the initial shock factor. What do you guys think? Alien Tenno, we are dumb. We are dumb. Our govs think we can't handle other life not on Earth. Well, you know, I think we actually have, life, flying around, stuff like that, meaning coming to visit our planet, taking off. Many people have speculated that it's in hollow Earth. When you say hollow Earth, I think it's like giant caverns and stuff like that. And like I said, some of these things are so large that you can almost stick like New York City or something along them lines in some of these caverns, right? So who's to say that they weren't here long before, us people here on the actual surface of Earth, before we actually get smart and everything else and, evolved. How do we know? And they've been coming and going for how long? They can easily cloak themselves, fly right out. You wouldn't even know they were there. Rachel, you also put on there, like, I think we are AI that was designed by something. What do you think about that? Well, yeah, I mean, is it possible? Yeah, because like I said, you have to consider if everything was designed in some way, shape, or form, you have to consider the maker, right? And if you want to believe it's God, whoever it may be, I believe there was gods in a plural, and I don't mean in a like supernatural. I mean like gods like you and I, maybe a little different here and there, right? Much more advanced, and that they came to Earth a long time ago, and there you go, right? So that's the big question. Everybody's trying to figure out, where did we come from? Is it, were we designed? Were we put here for a reason? Were we this, that, and the other? There's so many, it's a lot of speculation to be truthful, but I don't know. That's the grand question. Everybody wants to know where we came from. This is the reason why we're sending all kinds of probes out into space. We're looking out deep into space. We're listening deep out in space. Yeah, crazy. Terry G, how hot is it there? About 91 degrees. It's only feel like about 96. Usually it's about 110, but the humidity's been subsiding a little bit. Not too bad. Daniel Webster, you put on a, hey, Daniel, good to see you in there. They're saying it's not just exoplanets. It could be also exomoons, which makes the chance of finding life much, much better. But I believe you're right. Sadly, I don't think they're going to tell us. Well, and that's the thing. I'd love to have them actually tell us. I mean, like I said, the initial shock, so what? People will get over it, because the people who are panicking, the other people are going, calm yourself. It's no big deal, man. It'll be all right. They haven't killed us off yet. Why would they do it now? You know what I mean? Think about it. Unless, of course, we decided to war with them in some way, shape, or form, then we may be in a world of hurt. It's hard to tell, right? Let's see. Craig MK3. Government can't explain it as a whole. That's why we're not, there's not being leaked, or much leaked rather, because no one can really put the whole thing into any meaningful explanation. It's completely out the box. Well, and you're right about that, Craig, but this is the way I look at it. They could take steps, let's say they're going, okay, let's just say they do a press release, right? And they have a press conference. They're in there and they say, listen, we found out, we're just going to let the public know for years. We've been seeing these UFOs, a lot of them unexplained. However, there are a lot of things that can be explained, and that's our own crafts. Of course, we're not going to tell you what they are because they're top secret. We're not going to tell you what their capabilities are, so on and so forth. And that would make sense to me, but and then just say, by the way, we may be finding more interesting stuff coming along because we're investigating these a lot more. So we're trying to find out what planets they're coming from. In other words, let the cat out of the box more and more and more until finally, the truth comes out. And, if they want to go easy on the people and not give them a heart attack and think everybody's just like completely stupid, can't handle it. Yeah. I think that'd be the best way to do it. Don't you think? So, yeah. Kenneth Lair. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the support. Chris, your work is awesome. Please keep up the great work. Well, I will. No doubt about it. You guys keep watching. I'll keep making them. Mike Hoover, you put on it, he's a theoretical science. This info is huge. The simulation code. Yep. Okay. And like I said, everybody's, I've heard like we could be living in the Matrix and stuff like that. And basically it's the grand design, right? And that's what we're doing. We're actually, being manipulated somehow, meaning, how our life goes, whatever, and just every step you take. I'm not a big fan of that, but that doesn't mean it's not true, right? This again, we're looking for the big answer, to the big question. Where are we? Where do we come from? So on and so forth. And we'll find the answer. I guarantee it. I don't know if we'll actually be all excited about it, but yeah. That's why I love the movie a lot, Prometheus. I love that movie. Nacho Libre, smash that thumbs up button so it makes a dent in your table. Better not try to do it to this one. I'll break my hand. It's basically a countertop to your kitchen. That's why I got my bench. It's probably 4.5, 5 feet long with all my computer gear, my scanners, all kinds of good stuff, shortwave radios, and all kinds of good stuff. Basically a mini man cave in my bedroom. So it's mini man corner, we'll call it. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's right. Smash them like you mean it. Photography, light, and magic. Proof of life has been found on Mars. Look at the photos. How can anyone deny this? Maybe Stevie Wonder? Exactly, man. I mean, you had to be blind not to see this stuff, right? I strongly believe, like, I've told people this before. Some people will agree with what I find in the photos. Some people not. And you know what? You're more than welcome to have your own opinion. That's cool. I always tell people every now and then, listen, if you found out of all my videos, you found just one thing, and it's not just my videos, anybody who's doing this kind of work, if you found just one thing that you went, there's no way that could be possibly natural, you have to think about that. Why is it on Mars? Why is it on the moon? Whatever it may be, wherever it's at, you have to question it. You don't have to agree on everything. All you have to do is to say, because everybody's pretty smart, right? And they can make their own decisions on what this may be or whatever it may be, right? So if you look at it and you go, there's no way that thing can be natural. Analyze the photos then. Pull them apart. That's the best way to do it. That's what I tell you guys. I bring it to you. I give you the link so you guys can dissect it and analyze it yourself. Make your own decisions. Don't take my word as gospel. And analyze the stuff yourself. And then you come to either A, the same conclusion, or B, you're going to go, I'm not seeing it, but I am coming up with something different. There you go. It might be something that I overlooked, but you've seen in there, and that's what you're doing, right? You just say, hey, I've found some more stuff. That's what it's all about. Spottum got him. You said, I honestly believe that the humans built the pyramids of Egypt, rather, and not aliens. It's not possible. Just look at what we come to know in life, or to now in life, rather. People who just can't wrap their heads. There was people smarter than us. That's true. I mean, but if you read their writings, they said they built the pyramids from the overseers. So they basically had maybe a hand in it. Now, in other words, humans did build it. There's no doubt about that. But they said they were built with the help from the overseers. Who's the overseers? And of course, they point to the skies. They talk about, the overseers in the skies. What could they be talking about? And they're not the only ancient civilizations. Sumerians, like, and somebody else just said that. They're talking about the Anunnaki gene spliced us. The evidence is there, which Alien Tenno just said just unto you. And here's the thing, yeah, there might have been, again, if you talk about like Mayans, right? Then again, we're like in the fifth cycle, right? So the Earth has gone through cataclysms, but hasn't completely killed off life here on Earth. So how do we know we weren't a lot smarter back in those other cycles? We could have very well have been. And you know what? I think, what was it though? Is it Wilcox? The one he said we're like a race with amnesia. We have no clue what happened in our past. And that could very well be. Miguel Suerio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name right. Forgive me, sir. As always, loving the show, Chris. Well, thanks for being here. Love that you guys are here. I think they jumped up on me again. Hate it when that happens. American Rebel, gotta go, Chris. Take care, man. Well, appreciate you stopping in, American Rebel. Hope you have yourself a good night there, right? Shep, didn't even know you were in there. You must have popped in here real quick, right? Hey, Chris, hope you and everyone in chat are having a great weekend. Cheers. Well, cheers right back at you, man. I hope, I don't know if you're leaving, but if you are, have yourself a good night and a good week there, right? Philip in Wethington, you put, I listened to Shortwave, Chris. I need to get into it more. Yeah, I mean, I put out a long wire on the side of my house here. and I've got um, a dual band antenna on the roof for my scanner. And the reason why I have just a dual band is because I like to listen to the ISS and when they do broadcast, right? And if you got a good antenna, man, I swear to God, you can listen to these guys. Like I said, I'm in the tri-state area, like Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia, and I can listen to them all the way in Michigan. I mean, because and people go, "Well, how can you possibly do that?" They're in the sky. I mean, there's no obstructions, right? It's not like you're driving through the city and you're trying to use either a ham radio or a CB where you get all kinds of obstructions. They're literally up over in the air, transmitting downward. There's no obstruction. So, and where I live, I'm out in the country, so it's really nice. And you can literally receive. You don't even have to be over your head. You can hear them. I seen that new chaotic order you put on there. The genetic code of any octopus is so weird. It convinced 33 major scientists to write a report saying it could be extraterrestrial. I saw that report, and I don't know if it was somebody shared it on Facebook or something like that. And I read that, and I said, you know what? How do we know? I mean, some of these creatures could have came originally, on a rock. And I don't mean like a whole octopus, but I mean the actual building blocks of that particular animal, right? And if all of these planets they rain down, let's say a planet gets screwed up. I mean, it collides with another body, right? These rocks go off in every direction. Okay, it seeds Earth, seeds another planet in the solar system, seeds other, So you might find the same creatures on different planets, maybe slightly different, maybe due to the gravity, the air makeup, right? The atmospheric makeup. So how do we know? We don't know, right? But I have read that. You're right. You take care too, the American Rebel. 1010 Craig 1010. You put on there, Chris. You are sure to have been asked this before. In your view, what is the single most compelling piece of evidence of life design on Mars? If you could only choose one thing to argue it, that would be tough. That would be insanely tough to do, because when you stop and think about it, all the things I've seen there, it's like, let me see. This thing just jumped up on me again. There's really no single thing to be truthful with you. I mean, there's so many things because people ask me that. What's the most convincing thing you've seen, or like you made a video of? I've seen the things that look just like stuff we'd have here on Earth. I don't see a whole lot of people, which some people do. I don't see like little critters and stuff like that. But it's just some of the stuff I've seen has a very good similarity to what we have here on Earth. So is it possible, like I said, because we're all carbon based life forms and it's throughout the universe, who's to say there's not a lot more life like us out there? And some differences, maybe tall, shorter, breathe different air and whatever, but very, have some similarities. How do we know? How do we know? Terry G, we will point at the sun and I'm sorry, the sky and run around like chickens if they told us. Yeah, that's at least that's what they're thinking, right? Ray Raymond, I guess I didn't get your whole comment. You put in the hi, Chris. I can't stay because by the time well, Ray, good seeing you in there. Anyway, man, good to have you in there regardless. If you're leaving, have yourself a good night there, right? Pam Stone, you said, do you ever watch Ancient Aliens or, I'm sorry, on History Channel? Kind of makes me wonder about a lot of things. I'll tell you which was the best one. If you haven't found or if you haven't seen the very first series, right, when the Ancient Aliens first came out, to me, that's the best season they made was the first one. I think it started getting a little ridiculous when they're talking about Sasquatch and it could be an alien. I kind of just stopped watching it after that. Now they're starting to go back. It seems like they're going back to their roots where they're starting to do more investigation where you got ancient civilizations who talk about aliens and so on and so forth. That to me, go back to the roots of how this thing started. And I'll tell you what, I remember when I was doing these videos and then I started watching Ancient Aliens and I'm going, man, check that out. Excuse me. Check that out. I'm saying they kind of go together. The puzzle pieces kind of fit now because you're going from, man, could there possibly be life on Mars? And then you're hearing that, a lot of these ancient civilizations talked about how there was life on Mars as well as the moon. And we went back and forth from Earth to the moon, so on. And it kind of comes together now. You start looking at it, you go, okay. Mike Hoovy put thumbs up. Oh, yeah. Smash that like button. The gods and the Mayans said that they created beings that for us planet to extract gold, and they're being served one purpose, which was to work. So, sounds like we are advanced machines. We're unaware. And that could very well be, because if you remember correctly, they said that, like you said, they were extracting gold for their atmosphere, right, on their planet, because as you know, it runs on an elliptical. It's 3,600 years. So it comes into our solar system, and of course, their atmosphere gets heated. So what they do is, I think it's to do both, right? I think it's to put a layer of gold in their atmosphere to not only reflect some of the heat, but then actually keep the heat in. So maybe they can let in so much and then kind of seals it. I don't know. To be truthful, I don't know. But that's what they said. And then they were supposed to actually destroy us. After we extracted all the gold that they needed, so on and so forth. They said, okay, let's go ahead and just wipe them out now that we changed their DNA and stuff like that. And said, no. They had a fight amongst themselves there because they're supposed to be gods, right? They had a fight amongst themselves, and they're just leave them be. And here we are today, right? Yeah, Rogue Jedi. Yeah, seen the face in Antarctica. What do you think? Absolutely, I thought that was pretty stunning, man. I saw that, and I was just like, that is bizarre as hell. Now, if that is the real deal, it just makes you wonder. Okay, we got one here in Antarctica. We got the face on Mars. Of course, they claim it's not. It's a trick of light after a while. But I tend to go by the Viking orbiter before I go by a CGI photo that they said, oh, that's what it really looks like. No, I don't believe that crap for a minute. Mike Hoover, Chris, Dr. James Gates Jr., amazing, a little scary, but yet we created the Sims. Right, and they're saying that, somebody created us in that kind of similarity, right? So we're just basically being controlled and we're going about our lives the same way, like they want to control us kind of thing. Again, for me, I don't believe that's the truth. I think we were altered. Even a lot of scientists say our brains have been so advanced, meaning we made this huge evolutionary jump in our brains itself, and it's still growing. We're evolving, our brains are, changing, so on and so forth. And so they say we made this huge jump in evolutionary as far as the brain. So it makes you wonder, you know what I mean? It's like, how did this happen? Was it just like some turning point? And what was it? Was it some kind of drug introduced that just opened up part of our brain, made us smarter? Or, what do you think, Yeah. New Chaotic Order. There will be a sequel to the sequel prequel, Prometheus. Yeah, exactly. You got to love the way they bounce the stuff around, right? But I'll be curious to see, if they keep it up. It's pretty cool. Philip, you also watch Ancient Aliens. Yeah, pretty good stuff. I mean, like I said, they've come back. It's almost like they came full circle to the original season, right? The first season. And they've got they're starting to get back to it a little bit more. And I think they were losing their audience. And probably said, guys, we're going to do something. Let's find more proof or whatever, and let's make the show again, and go with that. The gel-like substance China found is interesting. Haven't heard about that. What was that? What was that on? Was that on the news or something, or was it on some kind of, site on the internet? I have Rolando Alves. Yeah, ever heard of Mona Lisa Apollo 20? They claim there's an Apollo 20. I'm not so sure about that, but I have also said after you go from, up to Apollo 17, I've also stated though, I don't believe they stopped because again, it's like, how humans are always pressing, the envelope, always pressing the envelope. Well, we can make a car that's fast. Well, remember back in the 80s, I think it was, they had the Blue Flame that was doing what, 660 miles an hour on the salt plains of Utah. So why stop there? It's the same thing. If you can get out from Earth to the moon. Why stop there? So it wouldn't surprise me in a sense. Now they did show that Mona Lisa that would look like a female um, alien. We're going to use the term, and she had like these things on her eyes and stuff like that, and on her nose and her mouth and stuff like that, and they claimed that was real. I'm on the fence about that, to be truthful. I'm not so sure which way to go with it. If there's more information about that, you can better analyze it and then go from there, right? But from what I've seen, it's a possibility. I'm not denying that, but I'd have to see a little bit more proof of that. Nacho Libre, you're right about that. You're saying to Rachel, find this one here on YouTube. The Sumerian clay tablets reveal the biggest secrets of the solar system. Well, it's not just the solar system either. I mean, if you think about, they talk about, um, there was 10 planets on our solar system, and of course, like counting our moon, and of course the sun. But they also claim there's 10 planets, and the Sumerians, if you look at it from their planet, Earth is the seventh planet. In other words, if you're looking from the outer edge of the solar system looking towards the sun, we're the seventh planet, and that's how they refer to us. Um, but if you look at the Sumerian tablets, they have the 7 tablets of creation. Sound a little familiar? 7 days of creation in the Bible. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was from the Bible was actually taken from a lot of these, ancient civilizations, like some from the Egyptians, some from the Sumerians, so on and so forth. Um, it's crazy. When you stop and really look at this and just read what's in these books. Um, Phil, you put on the caption an ultra bright flash earlier on it turned night to day. It wasn't lightning. I don't know what it was. It was only on one frame. I was filming 25. Oh wow, frames per second. That must have been pretty interesting. Chuck, little Chuck, you put on there, Chris. Do you believe that the recent data dumps from NASA and JPL, specifically the moon photos and Mars photos, that this is the beginning of a soft disclosure? I believe it is. I think at some point they're just going, listen, these people are not stupid. They're catching on, and if we're not going to tell them, they're going to find out for themselves. So yeah, they're going to know that we're liars, right? So that's why I think they're dumping a lot of this, and that's why again the Pentagon with these fighter jet pilots tracking these things, this thing tumbling and morphing and doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I strongly believe that's the case, and now I would love to see it happen sooner. I know you guys would too. So hopefully. And Nintendo, fook me, some higher intelligence created a program that's effed up, really. LOL. Well, I don't believe it, but they're kind of kicking the idea around. Is that true? Is it possible? So they're saying we could be in, like I said, some kind of matrix or something like that. It's all a big grand design. I think we're just flesh and blood, and I think that we could be like Rachel has said, maybe with some kind of hybrid. We just don't know it. And because we have a lot of junk DNA, and some of it can be turned on. So, and of course, your brain can be completely opened up. I forget how much percentage they say that the actual brain uses as opposed to the actual full 100%. I forget what it was. It's not very big. I think it was like, I don't know if it was 20% or whatever it was. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. I'm sure you guys will tell me. But I believe that we're real as the day is long, man. It's as simple as that. And I also believe that we again are trying to find our origins. This is the reason why we're reaching out into space, listening out into space. And I think that's what this is all about, right? New chaotic order. Octopi don't come from Earth. Well, again, they have these weird creatures here that just maybe they analyze them. They go, man, they just don't seem like this anything like here on Earth, which is kind of true. Look at them, right? But be something to see if you're going to actually get some biologists and scientists and stuff like that together and see what they got, see what they actually come up with. I'd love to be able to talk to one actually, that actually analyze their DNA, so on and so forth, and get their thoughts on it. Equalizer. I got my wife interested in your videos. She thought I was mad, but now she watches the same as me. Keep it up. Well, tell her hello, and I'm glad she's joining us. Well, here's the thing, we just bring out what we find in these photos, and basically you make your own decisions. That's what it comes out to. I show people what I believe is to be what I think that may be, and we just go from there. Now, a lot of people make their own decisions, or they dissect a lot of these photos themselves, and again, they come to their own conclusions, and there you go. This thing just jumped up on me again. That's right. Slam that thumbs up button, guys. Slam that. Put that on there. Because Craig, you had on the Craig MK3, you put on, you were actually replying to Doc Chuck, Little Chuck, and I had to approve it. I don't know why. I guess because you put on shite, word shite on there. You put on there probably the best hoax I've ever seen. Still don't know how he recreated the capsule. Incredible, really, but we'll put crap like that, which makes the truth even more difficult to discern. Yeah, I mean, again, the way they did that is just weird. Now it's how they superimposed this alien or whatever. I think that's what he's still talking about, the Mona Lisa. And yeah, crazy stuff, man. You're just kind of like, is it real? I mean, or is it be that hard to hoax? Whoever did it went through a lot of work, a lot of stuff to get that thing the way they did it. Let me see. Let me just check this out real quick. I like to check out a lot of links here if we got anything. That way there, you can share them with you guys. I'm looking up something I had prior. I had a couple links here. Yeah, Hope L, you put on there, what video was that with the engine? That was the one I just did before the moon. What they're really finding on Mars or something like that. You can check it out. So it was just a couple videos ago. Just the moon and then that last one, I think. Oh, okay, Rachel. Yeah, I was wondering that too. They're saying that the gel-like substance found on the dark side of the moon could be glass refracting light. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? Maybe, and if you're thinking about glass, well, what could that have been from? Is it possible that it got heated from the sun at some point, really overheated? Was there some kind of nuclear explosion that turned any of the sand or anything, which we know is superheated, is glass? Is it possible that happened? I don't know. It's, again, we don't know until we actually get into all this, right? And actually they research it, so on and so forth. More information comes out that we can actually pick apart, which helps. And, and of course you listen to scientists and get their peer reviews, what they think it was. And of course they may not tell the public all of their, findings, but if they make it more, for the people, if they make it out there for the people, then we can actually pull it apart and check it out ourselves, right? Natural glass, that's a possibility, but I don't know. Let's see here. Molder 6, I just threw you a message there in the Google there. But anyway, you said you're doing stuff on photos of stars. I'm doing photos of stars right now. In France, it's midnight. So, yeah, I still get that question too. How the hell, when you look at these moon photos, how come you can't see any stars? Well, you're not going to, man. The moon is highly reflective. Try to find any kind of stars right here when it's daytime on Earth. It's so much brightness, you're not going to see it until it actually turns dark. Once the planet goes dark, and you'll see anything that's bright. Same thing with the moon. If it's highly reflective, which I don't know how it can be, because if it's just sand and just whatever lunar sand, how it's reflective like that is beyond me. But it's whatever the case is, you're just not going to see. Now, if you are on the other side of the moon where it's dark, well, then clearly you would see the stars, right? Oh, Bell, yeah, you put a. They definitely did not stop going to the moon. Why stop? Right, and I agree. I've said that myself because here's the thing: if you know you've already achieved it, why not make it more efficient? Why not continue on with it? And I don't think they did stop. They might actually already have a base and everything else. Um, who was saying that? Something was that we might already have a base on the moon and so on and so forth. It wouldn't surprise me, not in the least bit. New chaotic order. What are you saying? That doesn't make any sense at all. Which you said there are billions of creators and now we just find it. Not sure what you're talking about. Um, I'm just trying to read all these. So I'm trying to get what you're saying here. So go ahead and say what you wanted to say as far as billions of creators and now we just find it. Yeah, Nacho. Yeah, a lot of it's the Bible's basically plagiarism. I'm not saying all of it is, because a lot of people would say no, it's nothing more than a history book. But a lot of those were taken from the Egyptians, the Sumerians, so on and so forth. So yeah. Troy, you put on there, how come we still don't know how the pyramids were built? Well, like I said, I mean, I believe a lot of times they'll say humans didn't build it. I believe we did build it. But like I said, in their writings, they say that they got help from the overseers from above. Now, to me, that sounds like they're gods or some kind of help came from the heavens. And just about every, religious book or, sacred book, we'll use the term sacred book in any country, they always talk about their gods coming from the heavens and helping them in one form or another. What's that tell you? I mean, so, whether it's teaching them agriculture, different language or whatever, whatever. Um, so it makes sense. When you say overseers from above, it can only mean one thing to me, you know? Oh, okay. So he's asking about, I see Rachel answering him. What do you think is in those craters? Is it a glass dome maybe or natural glass created by fine dust particles? Well, I mean, even a lot of the, well, not a lot, but some of the astronauts had claimed. He said, one of them was saying to the other, man, it's really dark down there. I don't know how those people are in there. Did they ever get out? So that was kind of weird. I mean, it's like, I wouldn't want to live down there. And they're talking about different things, and it's just crazy, how they come out with some of that. And of course, they coded a lot of this the way they, you know, said certain things. They would use like a code word for it. Thoughts on the alien autopsy stuff that Dolan and Moulton have are claiming is genuine after all? Seems legit. Yeah, I mean, it could very well be. You know what I mean? You can't rule anything out. It's just like, but sometimes when you see some of these things, they look kind of faked or far fetched. Um, but you still have to keep an open mind, but you still got to be kind of, doubtful, if that makes sense, because you're trying to keep an open mind and still be doubtful. But you want to see it, you just want more of the information so you can discern what's BS and what's not, or at least come to a somewhat of conclusion, right? I said the same thing, Hope. I said, you put on there, I hope the hurricane going towards Florida doesn't do too much damage to the people out in Florida. Yeah, I mean, it's that. And like I said, I mean, between the people in the Bahamas, like I said, my thoughts and prayers go out to them people, man. They're getting hammered down there right now. So, I wouldn't want to be there, and hopefully everybody evacuated, right? Yeah, Renee, it wouldn't surprise me. You said even the Apollo 20 logo patch insignia was authentic and legit. Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen that as well. That's why I'm saying you have to keep an open mind to this stuff. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything, but you have to at least say, well, okay, that did look realistic, okay, and it was from back in the day. In other words, it wasn't a new video, and you can tell it was kind of film. But you can fake a digital video today and make it look like it's old film. But with that being said, I keep an open mind. That could very well be because, like I said, I don't think they even stopped going to the moon, and I think they're still making trips now. Who would know? How would you know? If you're asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, nobody's going to be around to see it, or they can just, you know, take off. You wouldn't even know it. How do we know? Good one, Nacho. That's pretty funny. How now? The pyramids were rather piezoelectric generators. Yeah, they said at least the largest telescope, right? Um, they said that it was some kind of power source at one time because it has no hieroglyphs or anything. It wasn't some kind of burial chamber like the others. Has nothing written in there. It's like I said, as far as like whether it was somebody who in there, and their life story, none of that. None of that was written in there. They say it was some kind of now. Whether that was or not, I'd love to see more and more information about that as well. Right. Robert S., you put out, what are your thoughts about the bottomless craters on the moon? They talked about on a not too old episode of Ancient Aliens. Yeah, I think I've seen that. They seem to think that it's like an opening to like maybe some of these lava tubes that there was once on the moon, right? Well, there's tubes on the moon. It was once lava, rather. But that's what they say. It might be an opening to that. And and I think NASA was actually claiming that they would actually like to land in these things and have like settlements inside there because it would help shield them from radiation, so on and so forth. And I think that would be awesome. But as long as it's safe, and because the moon still has quakes, believe it or not. So that'd be pretty crazy if you had a moonquake rather, and it caved in everything. That wouldn't be good, right? Uh, Craig, have you found my '57 Chevy? Yeah, that's parked on Mars, man, in Gale Crater. The valet parking, the guy was a newbie. He parked it over there. Uh, Cascalis, you put on there Rene Cruz. I think it was a film I saw about Apollo 20 in 1974. Yeah. Louis Longbeard, thank you, sir, for your support. Just passing through. Got to get to work. Keep up the good work, and the world needs people like you finding the fakes so people like me don't have to. Well, like I said, we try, man. Try to get it out. Try to find out what's in these photos and bring it out to you guys, right? Again, man, appreciate your support. And thanks for stopping in, right? Oh, okay, Craig. You said on the you're talking to Hope. You said, yeah, the guy's name is Noodles. He's pretty knowledgeable. You might know him. Yeah, he's been on here too. I believe he's a sub. Mostly everything is camouflaged with the stuff on the moon. And you know what? I've actually said that too, where if you look at some of these hills, right? Look at the hills themselves, but look underneath. If you get in an angle on some of these Apollo mission photos, you look underneath, they look like this like squares under them. It's almost like if you could take your house, right? You got a piece of land, you want to camouflage it with a large field, right? Like a large field of grass. What do? Well, you take that turf, put it on top of your house, almost like an underground house, but it's not. So from above, who would see it. So you would literally have to look, at an angle to see these things. And I've seen that many a times in a lot of these photos, these moon photos, crazy stuff. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did do that. Dan, you put on there, maybe there's some lost technology and Villa Pyramid, for example, it's beginning to look like the Egyptians electrified the Great Pyramid, which would have been an awesome sight. Yeah, I mean, again, it had like the gold very top of it, the capstone, and a lot of the stone is actually going the outside. The exterior capstone was actually all taken off, and of course, they said it was used for other parts of the sites or the houses in that area. But regardless, I mean, I can imagine what those things looked like in all their glory back in the day, and what their real function was. Lewis Longbeard, peace out, guys. Have a good day. Well, you do the same, Lewis. Good to have you in there and stop at any time there, right? Lancaster, you put on there. I'll bet the Great Pyramid of Giza was a wireless transmitter of electricity, like Walden Cliff Tower. Exactly. I mean, you know, it's to me that would make sense in a way, because if you can make wireless electricity, it can go to a different place without wires, all kinds of stuff like that. I think that would actually be a cool idea. Now, whether it was, don't know, but they're starting to believe more and more that it was some kind of power plant or something like that, to that effect. Oh yeah, Kenneth Proctor. Yeah, with some of the stuff flying out of Area 51, we're probably way past Apollo 20. Oh, you can almost bet on it. Oh yeah, you can almost bet on it. In fact, I'd bet on it. Uh, Cascalis, you put on there in 1974 was the last year they had the last mission to the moon, and was the Apollo 20. I believe they kept going. Now, whether they stopped the actual Apollo mission itself, I believe they're still going or still went then. And like I said, you can use any top secret craft we had. The any secret craft we might have had back in the day. You can still retrofit the engines, do the same thing like a rocket today, only a lot smaller version, because it's only a plane and not a full-fledged rocket with some kind of payload, right? So you can easily do that. And if you have the same thing like the Apollo astronauts, they had all that basically life support and everything else right in their suits, or you can just put it in its own cabin and stuff like that. It's got its own life support, air, and all that stuff. Go right to the moon, and because there's hardly any gravity, you can land with no problem, take right back off with no problem, minimal fuel used. There you go. Off you go. Come back to Earth, just like the old shuttles used to do. Come back in and land. Why not? Who's to say we can't? I hate it when this thing jumps up like this. Okay, here we go. Richard Mortimer. Mortimer. Morning. Happy Labor Day from the future. Yeah. Ironically, I got to work, which I don't care. Get that extra bread. I don't mind it. They were lava tubes. There would be volcano type mountain either at those locations and many other places, but the moon is void of most, if not all, landscape features. Yeah, it has quite a bit. You'd be surprised, Robert. I mean, what I find really weird about the moon, if you look at all them craters, I don't care what size they are, they almost appear to be all the same depth. You know what I mean? Like I said, the actual lunar surface is made of some really hard substance, like a titanium, so on and so forth. And it doesn't matter. You can have a mile wide, think about this a minute. If you had a mile wide object hit the moon, not Earth, but the moon, can you imagine the destruction it would do? And yet, all you see is just a crater that only goes so far down. And yet, you can have a small one Let's say it's, 100 feet across and it's the same depth. How does that make sense? Makes no sense at all. It's almost like this a nice smooth ball, right? Just picture a smooth ball. Now, instead of, it's nice and smooth now, just take a ring, set it on there. Okay, that used to be a crater. It was a crater, or it is a crater. It's almost like they put the outer skin is like all the little, valleys and little mountains and stuff like that. They just stuck on this round, smooth ball. And it's almost like, people are saying it's actually fake. It's not really, natural. It's not a natural satellite. It's actually something else. It's intelligently made. And when you start gathering all the stuff you're seeing on it, you're just going, that's a good possibility. Alien antenna, you said there was a network of generators or pyramids around Earth. Everything works on electricity. Well, yeah, everything is electrical at some point. Even your own body is, right? You get electrical impulses from nerve endings to your brain and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's not unheard of. And if you look about, if you just study where these pyramids are, right? They're literally a lot of them are within the equatorial region. Now, picture those. If you could picture anyone from any of these countries, and they're all linked up somehow, whether it be communication, electricity, what have you, that would make sense to me. That would make absolute sense. And it wouldn't surprise me. Like Hoover, there was a bridge that was constructed over a couple years that was seen that it started to disappear. Documented. Never heard of it. Troy, you put on there, I'm in Naples, Florida, been here 30 years, been through all of the hurricanes. This one is supposed to shift up and right away from Florida, but the worst part isn't the storm. It's with no power for 3 weeks after. Yeah, I mean, it's like myself. I always have backup. I got a generator. I've got all of that stuff. I got extra food. The power goes out here. Maybe it's a bad storm, whatever it may be, whether it's snowstorm, any kind of bad weather. It can be as simple as somebody, a truck whacking a pole down the street. I mean, you just don't know, right? You got to be prepared for everything. It's the way it is. You just got to be prepared for everything. And like I said, my daughter lives down in Florida, and she's on the Gulf Coast herself, which she'll probably just get some rain and some wind. But I said, let me tell you something. If I lived down there myself, I would have all kinds of backup stuff so I don't have to worry about it. What's the worst going to happen? You don't need it? Okay. But at least you got it. It's better to have it, not need it, right? Right. That's what we were talking about earlier, Alien Tenno. Nikola Tesla had wireless electrical technology. Yeah, and that's what they're talking about. He had them weird cages and stuff like that, and he had the tower, and I think they actually simulated that too not too long ago. When I say not too long ago, it's been years ago, but they actually built it to try to see if they can actually get it to actually work. Because the guy was brilliant, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if they actually made, um, another one and actually made it work. That would be something. But you know what? There's nothing in it for the companies. They need to put a meter on everything you use. They can't charge you if they can unless they can meter you somehow. Let me go back. Let me go back. I don't want to miss any of these. Brett Butterfield. Later all, my eyes are closing. Have a good one. Well, good seeing you there, man. Have yourself a good one. Yeah, go easy, Rachel. We don't want to see anybody's brain explode over here. Let's go easy. Let's see. Marky, I believe the reflection in Alan Bean's helmet was taken at Palace Petrodinus. Okay. And anomaly was on a mountain, actually, perhaps a castle. So they weren't where they said they were. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of people will say, well, you know, they were, digging up rocks and soil, taking, core samples from the ground because they had like a small drill bit, hollow drill bit. They would do all kinds of stuff like that. I think they were trying to see how far they can get in. In other words, they think that maybe the crust is only so thick. I think they were just trying to see if they can get into it. And if they hit something solid, like, okay, and which could be a rock, right? A bigger boulder. But they probably try to take more than one core sample. And like I said, to me, that was a PR move more than anything, but it was probably scientific as well. In other words, they were taking it to really truly and analyze it because maybe they believe the moon's something else too. And but I think they were for the bigger thing. I think they were there taking photos of structures, putting hands on when it came to the structures. And I don't think we've seen a lot of this stuff that they were seeing, other than them playing around with golf and different Apollo missions. They were on a lunar buggy playing around on it and stuff like that. Like, oh, we were having a great time. But the rest of the time that you didn't see them when they were supposed to be sleeping, they could have been out doing their thing. How do we know? Checking out these other objects and stuff like that. And we just don't know. I think they were checking out much more than rocks, and these photos prove that. Greg MK3, I only had ever had one sighting in January 2018, but it was extremely close range and broad daylight for over 80 seconds, and there was two different craft. Every day I try and make sense of it. Well, I've actually seen one back in the 80s. Seen a craft in one of the towns that we lived in, and you still try to this day try to really, what the hell was that? Was it something that we had and it's just something I misunderstood for some kind of alien craft or UFO? And technically, it is a UFO if you really think about it, because you don't know what it is, so it's unidentified. So technically, it is, right. Mike Hoover, he's a little happy. Same depth, yep. Solid shell, yep. Hollow core, yep. Freaking design, yep. Well, again, just look at the real clear photos of the moon, okay, which the LRO had taken. Just look, I mean, it's completely smooth in these craters. I mean, nice and smooth. And it's almost like they said they took a ring and just glued it to this nice smooth ball, and they put all the little details that they want, just stuck it on this ball. That's what it's what it looks like. It's just weird because you would think a lot larger craters would be like a hellacious, hole in the ground in the lunar surface. You telling me it got filled up somehow by something over the years? I don't believe that crap. It just doesn't seem feasible. I can understand some small little 30-foot one. And even then, it's not like they got weather in the end. It's blowing all of the dust back into the crater. Makes no sense, right? So it makes you wonder, why are these the same, depth, at least most of the time, not all. Majority are the same depth. Simply makes no sense. Oh, absolutely, Nacho. Yeah, if a mile wide object hit our moon, we would 100% hear or see it. I don't believe for 1 second that would go unnoticed. I've seen a video before where you can actually see something coming in from the left. You can see our moon, and it literally went boom, 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 and just kept bouncing until it went right off into space again. I was like, what the hell was that? Um, I'm trying to remember the name of the channel that had it. That was bizarre as hell because the way it came in, it didn't actually smack into right into it. It just kind of like just grazed the surface and it just bounced, bounced, bounced until it went off the other side of the moon. That was crazy. Get dry throat. But like you said, Nacho. And here's the other thing too: you would see some kind of flash or something, or see some extremely lots of ejecta come right off that moon. Um, if something that big really did hit the moon, right? That would be crazy. Chris, in a hollow moon, some say. Yep. Like I said, when you hit it with a rocket and it explodes and it rings like a bell, yeah, that doesn't usually mean solid. Rachel, good one. Not a real space program. Well, they're real, but they're just not, forthcoming in a lot of information, we'll say, right? Troy, you put in there, isn't there supposed to be an asteroid barreling toward Earth either today or in the next 5 days? I read it 2 weeks ago, and Mark, yeah, I haven't heard anything about it either. Anybody else have? I know they said something about that it was supposed to go whizzing by. Of course, it wasn't going to be anything, of any value because it was supposed to be X amount of millions of miles away. I think it was like 33 million or something like that. It was something outrageous. So we wouldn't have had to worry about it anyway, right? Oops. I barely creeped down on the mouse and the thing takes off. Steven, you put on there, always miss me, Chris. My questions must be dumb. No, I haven't seen the questions. Steven, drop it again. I'll look at it. James Gregan. Hi, Chris, man. Just checking in with you. Your videos during the week are top of the range again. I appreciate it, James. Thanks for stopping in, man. Yeah, there's no dumb questions here, Steven. Maybe I just didn't see it. Maybe let me go back up here a little bit. Must be way up there. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, drop it again. I'll have a look. Yeah, Rachel, you're right about that. I hope Elon Musk gives us more than NASA. Yeah. Well, the problem is he's working with NASA now, though. That's the sad part. You know, for him, he's probably been led into the circle, if you know what I mean, and probably sees everything there is to see there. And this is the reason why he came out with the actual what he said. He says, "I'd love to die on Mars." So he wants to go. For what reason? Dead cold planet, right? But maybe he wants to be part of the colonization when they start, so on and so forth. So hard to tell. But if there is a lot of things on Mars which we're seeing in these photos, then you can understand why he wants to go there. And I wouldn't blame him. Okay. Want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. If I am, just go ahead and drop your question again, guys. Because literally, I go to move this thing down with a notch on the wheel here on the mouse, and the thing takes off on me. Renee, you put it scary to ride to the moon, Mars, etc. on Elon Musk Falcon Heavy, Tesla, Roadster, Starman Spaceship X Hopper, um, Richard Branson, Virgin Gal. Yep. Jet airplane, NASA, explode. Well, see, here's the thing: with everybody helping them now, like you said, we got people helping them out, supplying the rockets, so on and so forth. So NASA really doesn't have to do too much. He's just subcontracting out to have people take payloads to the ISS, so on and so forth. So yeah, what do you guys think about the space hopper? I was watching parts of that. And I was going to actually rebroadcast it while they were doing it, and then they said, well, they had to shut it down. I don't know because it was very windy that day and there was something else that was going wrong. So they had to restart it. And I don't know if at the time when I got off the thing, it was like 3 hours. It was supposed to be another wait time. Then they dropped it down. No, no, it's not. It's like 8 minutes. And I just jumped off of it and stuff like that and got out of there. But they're basically trying to just taking off and hopping to another spot and another spot. And they're trying to see how the thing, how it does. Oh, yeah, Phil. Yeah, we are the only animal on the planet who has to pay to live on it. That's true. But then again, if you think about it, how about the other animals that literally had to pay because we're living on it? We're expanding, going into their life and stuff. But you're right about that as far as that. You know what? Everybody around you's got to get a piece of that wallet. Got to have a piece. That's sad because is life really truly free? Yeah, Richard Frost. Yeah, well, NASA will pay Musk for his services, so I doubt it. And like I said, once he became with them, and Elon's actually helping with their services. He's rendering his services to them and getting supplies with the ISS and everything, and working hand in hand now. And you bet, like I said, he's been led into the circle. So he's probably saying, "Hey guys, so what's the real deal with Mars?" He probably knows. Uh, Ian Wentworth, you put on a solid artificial shell with layer of dust and rock from millions of years of meteor strikes. Yeah, again, but let's go back to the meteor strikes. Why are they all the same depth? Why are these craters all the same? And a lot of times, look at these craters. Now, picture the extremely large ones, right? You don't see anything in the center. Can you imagine this whatever it is that hit that moon? The size of the object, they have to make a mile wide crater, and yet there's not even something ever in the middle of the thing. Look at some of these very large craters. You don't even see anything in the center of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of times something small will make a really large crater, right? But still a mile wide or bigger. Oh my God. You should see something in the center of those, and yet you don't. And they're almost the same depth, almost all the same depth, large or small. Craters almost all the same size or same depth. Doesn't make sense. Let's see. Well, yeah, Purple Tongue John Banana. Maybe the story of Emerald Tablets of Thoth is true, and the asteroid belt was a planet destroyed and white Mars' atmosphere. Well, they say that because even Mars, they said even Mars, just like Earth, was hit by some other body in our solar system. So, and I believe they say Mars has been too, or something came extremely close to it and wiped this atmosphere off, or if we go by what we're seeing on there, it looks like something devastated the planet. So either something from outside devastated the planet, or something that was it was if there was actual beings on the planet, they killed themselves off, or somebody else killed the planet off. Either way you look at it, something catastrophic happened there, whatever it was, right? At SpaceX, they say it's the evolution and can't stop there. There, yeah, absolutely. They're not going to stop. Like I said, as far as the missions and stuff, back in the day, they just kept rolling on with it. Oh, we made an engine. We can actually make it there. Good. Keep redesigning. We want something better. You know, um, Now we got ion drives, so on and so forth. Just look them up. We got, these satellites going out now. We've had even the earliest satellites were nuclear powered. And it takes years for uh, whatever it may be, uh, the actual power source, radioactive isotope or whatever it may be, the craft will literally come apart before the actual, we'll use the power source dies off. So, and of course, some of them have actually died off, and of course they can't sustain orbit anymore, and they just crash right to Earth, which is really good for the environment. Um, but as long as it's completely burned out, I guess it won't harm anything, right? But you're gonna bet when they go there, they have to seal that thing and do something with it. Not good. Jackie Chelly's a 007. Can you imagine what guys like you would find if NASA accidentally leaked a non-touched up image? Oh my God, yeah, be a field day. Oh yeah, and I've actually said that. People tell me, what would happen? Would you actually divulge this if somebody literally leaked this out to you and showed you a real picture of Mars and stuff like that? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't tell who the source was. And of course, they probably wouldn't tell me anyway, but that would be fine with me. Yeah, I wouldn't care to. Not worried about it. The triangle could house occupants, but the contact donut could not, and it oscillated several times a second, steeply left to right. Hmm. Rachel, you put the moon is probably really planet Nibiru. It. I don't know about that. I mean, they claim it's like way out there and it's elliptical. Like I said, its orbit's like supposed, like I said, 3,600 years. And but funny enough, NASA has found another planet. And of course, they're not labeling it Planet X, or they have. But either way, they're not calling it Nibiru. Funny enough, those Sumerians, ancient Sumerians, go back and they actually claim that there's actually a 10th planet and everything else. But now we're just starting to catch up to that. Yeah, imagine that. Martian Sunset. When do you think NASA will start sending pieces to Mars or Moon for a habitat, and where? Well, it had to be down and send, because I think I forget what the name of the crater is. The next 2020 Curiosity. I had it in the top of my head. I can't remember what it is. Maybe you guys will know off the top of yours, but they're either going to send it right there in Gale Crater, or the new 2020 rover's going. But what they want to do is they want to send like robots that are going to basically be 3D printers, right? And they want to, well, at least that's one of the theories. That's one of the ways they want to do it. They want to literally have these things construct these habitats instead of bringing habitats. They want to bring just machines that'll build them, and then they'll be ready for the our settlers, so to speak, when they get there. Now, when that'll happen, I don't know. I mean, they've got 2034 and all this other crap. Now, whether they do, it might be sooner, it might be later. Yeah, Hope. Yeah, it's like they were made perfectly to look like craters. And yeah, like I said, I mean, it just there's so many inconsistencies. Just look at it. Any good quality, like I said, look at an LRO photo, and just look at the nice clear pictures of it. And it just, I mean, you look at these large craters. Like I said, just picture a super small, smooth bowl, right? And to just start sticking rings on it, so it looks like a crater. And all of these other little, well, mountains and buttes and everything else that's on the moon, it's like they just stuck all this extra, details. They're stuck in this super smooth ball. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying, but it looks like that because when you look at the depths of these craters, no matter how wide, it's inconsistent. It just doesn't make sense. Wayne's Games. Yeah, you probably a lot of gold and other rare materials on Mars that they want, artifacts. Well, that's what I think. When you think about it, if they're going there and they're seeing this civilization that was basically destroyed, wouldn't you want to be the first one up there? I mean, I would, especially if I got wind of it first, and I'd be like, let's get up there as fast as we can. And if we can't send man, send machines. So that's why we're there. Now we got another one, like I said, 2020 going up there. In fact, they've talked about, you guys might want this too, because I talked about the Martian, the helicopter they want to send on the 2020, right? NASA engineers attach Mars helicopter to Mars 2020 rover. Now, there's a part in here where, let me put this up a little bigger here. Positive says, our job is to prove that autonomous control flight can be executed in an extremely thin Martian atmosphere. The engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Mars helicopter project manager said in a new release, since our helicopter is designed as a flight test of experimental technology, it carries no science instruments. But if we prove powered flight on Mars can work, we look forward to the day that when helicopters can play an important role in future explorations of the Red Planet, or which means they can actually fly around themselves. Once the settlers get there, they'll be able to fly around Mars. Think about it. If they got these dual rotors, right? And I forget how many RPMs these things had to fly, or it had to be, I don't know if it's 10,000 RPMs or whatever it was. I forget what it was, to be honest with you guys. But they made it enough so these dual rotors, and it could lift. And I've actually had it in one of my videos. And so now that they got it, now they're putting it, it's going into the underbelly of the rover. And I guess it'll come out like a sliding drawer, and this thing will take off. And it is solar powered. It's actually got, and I'll share the link with you guys. You guys can check this out yourselves. What I found funny is, where does it say? I like this. The helicopter would fly ahead of the rover almost every day, checking out various possible points of interest and helping engineers back on Earth plan the best driving route, NASA announced early this year. Okay, so what's helping the rover from 2012 that's there right now, still there? What's helping that get around? It's got autonomous drive, still does its own thing. And they can see from the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, they can use the high-rise camera on there to look down. They know exactly where this rover is going, and they can, because they can see that, like I said, down to a 4-foot swath of Martian surface. So what do they need a helicopter for? Well, let me see where it says this here. Okay, NASA plans to land the Mars 2012 rover. There we go. Jezero Crater. Jezero Crater. Like its technological predecessor, the Curiosity rover, which has been exploring Gale Crater since 2012, Mars 2020, will be capable of traveling across rough terrain. But even the hardiest ground-based vehicles can't get up and close and personal with some of the red planet's extreme features. In the future, helicopters could be used rather to explore Mars cliffs, caves, and ravines, or higher structures that they're looking at, something they can look on and up and over. Think about that. And I don't believe this helicopter could, I think it was only 7-minute flight time. Now, unless they increase the battery range of this thing or its power supply, which, is basically solar powered. And you guys can read the rest of this. In fact, I'll give you the link to it right now. You can read it. And it's got like I said, you can see the 2 rotors, right? And just above it, there's a rectangular solar panel right at the top. So you guys can check that out. Pretty interesting stuff. There you go. Guys can just put it on another tab and read it after. I see you guys going this, the comments back and forth. JR Metal Composer 74. If the air is so thin on Mars, wouldn't a blimp type vehicle be more efficient? Well, they thought about that. They actually thought about doing that. Send them some kind of craft like that because it'd be a lot easier to actually be off the ground and it could stay off the ground. Problem is, I guess they're thinking windstorms. Once it's up there, how does it get back down? Unless they control that. But the wind on there, because they're saying, some of these storms are 300 miles per hour. Now, I don't think that's anywhere where they're at least not maybe in Gale Crater. Now, it might be outside the crater or somewhere else because it literally 300 miles an hour. Think about this. And what people don't think about is that the rover is supposed to be about a ton. I think it's just under 2,000 pounds. Okay, but it doesn't weigh that on Mars. On Earth, it does. And I forget what it was. I came out with, I divided the weight. I'm trying to remember exactly what the gravity on Mars was. And then what I did was I took the weight of the actual rover, divided into 6 wheels, and then you get an idea of each of these wheels with the weight of, somewhat of what the weight would be on each wheel. Again, the question is, how do the wheels getting torn to pieces like that if it's not that much weight on Mars? Here on Earth, it weighs about a ton. Now, on Mars, it don't. I come out to like 700, 800 pounds on Mars. Now, divide that by 6. Okay, so how are these wheels getting ripped to pieces? Well, some of them literally look like they're torn, not just dense, but torn, like they ran over something steel and ripped right through the wheel. And as slow as this thing's moving along, how is it getting ripped that easy? I don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. The wheels keep getting hit in certain spots over and over and over again. It's going to puncture a hole, right? And I don't think I'm trying to remember because they're aluminum wheels, and they're not more than, I think, 60 thousandths thick. That's very, very thin, right? When you think about it, like a matchbook cover is like what, 30? I don't even think it's 32. Trying to remember what it was. I don't know if it was 16 or 19. Yeah, maybe 16 and 19 thousandths. A matchbook cover. And then, of course, these are only 60 thousandths or something like that. It wasn't very thick. I know that. It's very thin metal. So you can, and they did that for the flight, and this thing would be lighter and all that other good mess. And I guess they figured it'd be strong enough because, again, it wouldn't weigh that much on Mars. But like I said, divide all that weight into 6. That thing doesn't weigh that much. I honestly feel it's not our own doing how far we have evolved and grown over the last century. Well, it may not be, Craig. I mean, you know, it may actually might have actually had help and stuff like that, and that's how we leaps and bounds we've come as far as we have. And some people believe that we're still getting information off these other beings, and we're going to call them, and that it's actually helping us technologically. It's helping us move along, move us further along, so on and so forth. So yeah, yep, hope, yep, wow, helicopter like drones on Mars. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I left the link. You guys can check that out. It's just above your comment, actually above Craig's. You guys can check that out. Kenneth Brock, you put on there. Pilots have been have I'm sorry, have seen light balls with a box inside, maybe supplies or bringing stuff back from the moon. I haven't heard that, but it's a good possibility. Like I said, to me, the moon is like old hats, right? I mean, these guys have done it already, and if you improve the hell out of your flight efficiency, it'd be nothing to go back and forth to the moon. I think they're just doing it on a regular basis. To be truthful with you, what would be stopping them? What? What could possibly stop them? If you, if you compare an old Model T or Model A to what we got today, there's no comparison. I mean, so we constantly change. We got more technologically advanced, and this, that, and the other. So who's to say they would stop something that's so fantastic is being spacefaring? Why would you stop? You want to constantly be on progressing forward on that. So yeah. Stephen Ward, aliens been doing the same at UK airports. Uh, well, I mean, how many times you guys seen like videos with airports that have been shut down? I mean, everything comes to a standstill because there's something floating. I don't know. Wasn't there one that was in New Jersey or was it? And literally everybody just came to a standstill because this thing was literally flying over either the tarmac or one of the runways. Pretty crazy. James Smart, I don't know. Have you seen the gel-like substance of Chinese moon lander? We just talked about that earlier. What do you think it is? Maybe from a crash ship. It's hard to tell. Like I said, if you heat up sand, you get glass. That's what glass is made out of. So it's either to me, it's either because it's been there so long, because it does. The sun does actually hit that side. Most people think, oh, it's the dark side. No, it's the far side. It does get hit with the sun, just like when the moon rotates. I'm sorry, the Earth rotates because we rotate. They're tidal locked, or they're locked, and so but it still goes around, and the sun still hits the other side. Now it's either over X amount of years that this, heated up, the sand got heated up enough where it turned to glass, or maybe there was something that happened on that side, or maybe some kind of war. Ancient civilizations talked about a war on the moon. Now, whether that's true, I don't know. There's no way of knowing that. But if there is other beings out there, why would it be any surprise that they could do that? You know? Better be a big rock, Renee. Let's hit it with a rock. Alien Temple, check out the Egyptian helium. Oh, yeah, I seen that. Excuse me, I seen that where it had it like the hieroglyphs and stuff like that up on the top of the arch, like this up on the top of the doorway, so to speak, where it had hieroglyphs, and it looked like a helicopter, a ship, and an amphibious. Will look like a submarine type thing. Yeah, pretty good. You can find that. You can look that stuff up yourselves. Well, somebody said something, but then you asked a question. Photography, light, and magic. You put on there. What stopped them? Maybe it's because the moon is crawling with aliens. Or they just claim that they stopped. Like I said, I think they're still going with it. Or if that's true, from what I hear, like everybody keeps saying, well, they were warned off not to go back to the moon. That's a possibility. I guess is just somebody occupying the moon. I don't believe that's the case, but it doesn't mean it's not possible. I think that if anything, the elites of this planet have actually been talking to if there's any life on the moon, that they're talking with them. So that wouldn't surprise me. And so then they wouldn't be warned off. Maybe they're just saying, okay, as long as you guys don't do anything stupid, you can go up here and act like you're doing your little scientific thing. And in the meantime, you can still come up here and, do your thing. So I don't know. It's all speculation. We don't know unless we actually got more research on it or more stuff starts to come forward, and we can all just have really a good look at it, right? Daniel Webb said a lot of these craters have little white specks next to them that NASA supposedly told the Gabbett wrote someone else's on the moon that those whites pictures machines from aliens mining it. I mean, yeah, a lot of people have said that. When you see like certain photos of the moon, they actually say, "Man, it looks like it's some kind of a mining site." And how do we know they're not helium-3? I mean, I'm sure there's other things they could get, other metals. Who knows? They've probably been doing it for years, right? Pete's Vlogs, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Yo, hi, Chris. Rachel, you put on there, wasn't there a painting in the Middle Ages where the soul and mind were was connected into the sky and the two and in this tube attached to his head? Does that mean the body is a vessel for these aliens? I don't know. I guess you can interpret it like that, right? I mean, there's many ways to interpret these. Like you had that. Remember that other one too? They had in geez, what the hell was that at? It was in a foreign country, but they had it in one of those um, cathedrals or some kind of church or something like that, where it showed. Um, I don't know if it was the Blessed Mary. Was it the Blessed Mary? And it had like you could see like a little guy in the background too. He's up there and he had a dog, and you can see like this spaceship up in the air, and you can see the boat looking up at it. It was a fresco, I think, but I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. I know it was in another country. And it was painted right there and right in there. It was pretty cool. So I mean, what compelled these people to make these paintings of these things, especially way back in the day, right? What possessed people to do that? Especially if it was way before flight, and these people looking up, this dog and this person is looking up at this what looks like a UFO in the sky. Doesn't make any sense. James Smart. The first book I read was Chariot to the Gods at 14. Got my curiosity up, and then saw my first UFO at 16. Yeah. You read that book, that's pretty interesting stuff. Uh, okay, Notch, I'll check that out. Let me see what we got here. Mm-hmm. Let me check that out real quick. Oh, okay. Actually, that's actually a good channel. Let me go ahead and click on that. I'll have to. Yeah, let me go ahead and do this. Well, this may be too long. This looks like it'd be too long of an address on this. Let me do it this way. It may very well be too long. Huh? There we go. Just dropped it. Yeah, now so I just sent it there. Just drop that. Get off that. Okay. Cascales, you put on there, Chris. I believe that they are on the other side of the moon, on the other side, or the mankind, and because of the internet, they must go there to say we can have a moon station. Well, hard to tell, right? Alien Tenny, you said, I said last week, Chris, but the moon is jumping about in the sky. I haven't seen that, but I mean, because of the changes now in the seasons, it's officially over as far as summer. It's in a different part of the sky. So yeah, I wanted to use my my telescope too. Just cleaned it up a little bit and stuff like that. Yeah, Hope, I think you're right. I mean, I think our governments are in contact with aliens. And I think that's been going on for quite a few years, guys. I mean, how do we know? I mean, they probably approach the elites, and I'm probably not going to go just sit on the White House lawn, but they probably got in contact with them somehow. Maybe it was through being on the moon, or maybe one of these orbiters like the LRO, or, another probe sent to another planet. And somehow they got, who knows? But I believe they are. I believe they are definitely in contact with them. Susan Ann, has anyone watched or know of Donnie from Daytona's Views of the Moon? Amazing. I don't think I've seen it. What name did it go under? Because I know P and K does a lot of good stuff. Oh, okay. Nacho, you said it's a very interesting documentary. Okay. So anybody, when I drop that link, grab it up and have a look at it when you get a chance. James Cragen, yeah, you put on there, yeah, man. There's plenty of paintings showing alien crafts in them, man. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There's another one too that was on. There's another fresco where there was somebody in a building, and you see like this what looks like a craft, and it shows like that beam of light coming through the buildings and into the window. That may be what you were talking about too, Rachel. I'm not sure, but really crazy stuff. I mean, and these people did this when? How long ago? Long before flight. So what like I said, what compelled them to want to draw these pictures, right? Oh, okay. They changed the name. If you get the link, let me know. We'll just drop it down here or share it in one of the videos that coming up. Alien Tenno, yeah. You said you don't realize you have seen alien until you have been made aware of them. Then they are everywhere. It's kind of like when you go out and buy a car. Let's say it's some car. You go, oh, I don't see too many of these on the road. Then all of a sudden you buy one and there's like a million of them on the road. It's like, man, I thought I only had I was the only one that had one. Now they're all over the Don Road, right? So yeah, yeah, Renee. Yeah, they also threw a bomb on the moon to catch dust particles, but who knows? They were creeps from the moon and they were wiped out. Who knows? Well, like I said, they sent the dual spacecraft. They were identical. One was, like I said, had the warhead on it, and the other one had just basically the instruments. And one would, one was right behind the other. One crashed, the ejector came up, and they were trying to see if, it sniffed whatever ejector came off the moon, for water, different substances, or whatever. And then, of course, it sent the information back before it actually crashed itself as well. So, yeah. Oh, really, Tommy? Yeah. My last girlfriend had a few ET encounters in England. Oh, you will follow me and deform or deform. Yeah. Yeah. Chris is like ESA are showing how to build a moon station, how to prevent the radiation from the sun and the cold when the sun is not heating the moon. Wouldn't surprise me. That's showing. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like I said, if you build it underground, radiation is not a problem. You can stay at a certain temperature if you're underground. And think about it, if you're enclosed, because basically you're underground, right? If they went into one of these moon lava caves, they could literally, and if it narrows down and they build like a small, let's say, city or station or whatever, you could basically, heat the inside of that area, or you're not going to get hit by other or bombarded by other space debris, meaning other meteors coming in, other bodies from space. You're safe underground, unless of course it hits somewhere near that underground and it caves it all in, then you're a dead man or woman. That'll suck. Um, Claire Mead, you put on. Have you found new structures on the moon when compared to older images? I can't say that I have. Of course, I haven't really done a side by side or anything like that to say like, okay, this is an older one, now this is the new one, and to see if there's any differences. And because it's really hard to get it exactly anywhere, right? Unless, of course, they've done several, meaning that one area, like Copernicus crater, and then all of a sudden they just got an updated one now. If there's any differences, right? Well, no, I haven't, to be truthful. Oh, okay, Tommy. You put she saw a device hovering among trees in Norfolk many years before drones. She knew it was of ET origin. Well, yeah. I mean, if it depends on what it is, right? What it looks like, and if it's long before then, yeah. I mean, so if it's smaller nature, of course, it depends on the height, right? Or where it is in the sky, and but you can usually tell if it's not making any noise, because obviously drones make noises, right? My buddy's got one over here. It's crazy as hell. I think he's got like $1,500 into this thing, but he goes way up and has a great time with the thing. I might just get one myself. It could be very useful. I know a lot of people. A friend of mine actually makes money off that using one of those because what he does is he actually has people who are selling their house, large properties, or stuff like that. He'll go up and take photos, and they can put it in there, um, you know, into the newspaper showing different photos of the house, the grounds, and everything else. So he makes a lot of money off that stuff. Oh, okay. So that's what it is. H3D TV. Please watch. He has a telescope and shows amazing sights. I have to check that out. In fact, I want to write that down because I'm not aware of him. Unless, of course, he had another name. I wouldn't mind checking it out. You know what I mean? Well, I have to do with my pen. Hold on. Oh, yeah. All righty then. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. I said I might even already know the channel. I don't know. Like you said, if they change their name, Alan Pope, we put on the latest third phase of the moon vid. Shows very good pics of the TR3B. Have you seen it? No, I sure haven't. Every now and then I'll jump on there just to see what they got on there because sometimes they come out with some interesting stuff. So yeah, I have to check that out. Was it just recent or within a day or two? Or you said latest, so had to be at least within a day or two, right? Rachel, I'm so tired. I need a nap. I don't blame you there. Usually during the week, I'm wiped. A lot of physical stuff, and then come home, and then I'm like, okay, let me jump on this and get some videos together and stuff like that. And I start watching. I get home, and I'm just like kind of dozing. I was like, I need a little power nap, and I can get up and rock and roll here. But yeah, Chris is what they explain on the essay about the moon bases, and they even have the perfect spot in the cave. I think you put. I think. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of these holes in the ground, and they showed one that was extremely clear, and you can see it. I don't know how deep it was, but you can see the ground below, and of course, you can see the lunar surface. And I forget how far they see because I think they actually measured that with a laser or something like that, and they could tell just how far that is. And of course, the lunar surface they measured, and they can tell how deep it is. Get a nice idea, or at least a good idea, right? Tommy, you put on it was conical and had 3 orange lights on it and was hovering in the trees. It wasn't making a sound. Well, that's what most people say. They don't make a darn sound at all. Lancaster, put in, have you considered looking for sun anomalies meant to be some weird stuff there? Well, I mean, I've seen some videos where they actually show that. They'll, of course, they'll use a sun filter, to block out all of that the brightness and stuff like that, and it can bring down some weird things either flying around, and it could be anything from just asteroids going by the sun, right? To things that literally look like they're taking plasma off the sun and then taking off, and so yeah. Oh, okay. He used to be DOD. Hmm, not ringing a bell. Craig MK3, yup, anti-gravity is real. I have seen it with my own eyes. Whether it's ours or someone else, I have no idea. Well, here's the thing. They've been working on this since the 50s and 60s, so it wouldn't surprise me if they had it completely perfected and that these could be our crafts, you know? And if not, then where did they get the information? Maybe they found something on one of these crashed UFOs and, of course, reverse engineered it and stuff like that, right? Oh, okay. Third phase of moon, latest video, army stuff. Okay. I have to check it out. Yeah, Pete's vlogs. Trump made a space force for a reason. It's kind of scary. Well, like I said, I think that's been going on since the 80s. Like I said, they had what they used to call the Star Wars project. And they were talking everything from, warheads out in space to lasers, to all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can bet that there's weapons out in space. And, we just tell them, listen, guys, you just don't want to mess with our country because we just, boom, and you're done. Now, if they all have to do is use laser and it doesn't kill everything in the area, then they can pretty much do anything they want, right? Instead of actually nuclear warring, where it's going to literally kill the planet, let alone a country. Oh, okay. Not a big head, just shows what he sees and records. Amazing. I don't know how to share the links on my phone. Well, I mean, now that, just people just look for H3D TV and just put on, you can put in the search box, just H3D TV and, channel, and you should be able to find it pretty easy. James Crean, yeah, he said, Chris, what do you think about the government's changing the UFO to UFP, unidentified flying phenomenon? Do you think they are going to the spiritual side of the things instead of an alien one? I think it's goofy. I mean, I would have just left it alone. UFO sounds just fine. You can put aerial phenomenon. I mean, for all I care. I mean, to me, it's just like it's still unidentified either way you look at it. Flying phenomenon. I mean, unless you're talking about swamp gas with it, I mean, I just don't get it. Um, I just leave it at UFO. It's silly they're trying to change it. Oh, okay, Renee, you put on there, arrived on YouTube 14 hours ago, third phase of moon video. Okay. Anybody's interested in watching that? Park Garden, you put on there so much info, just what you don't get when I look at pics. Big thanks to you, Chris. Well, I appreciate that. There's a lot of things in these photos that I never thought in a million years I'd even see. I just thought, well, we're just going to stop burning a certain area because, like I said, the outside lines are what you want. Because I found out if you look at the actual texture of a photo or the color, which could be all the same, like on Mars, it's that pukey crap color. If you look at every single one of them or the whole area, the swath of area in the photo, you go, okay, why is it the same color as the rock that's next to it? It shouldn't be like that. I don't know how many photos, and I'm sure you guys have seen them too, where you can see like the front wheels of the Curiosity rover, and they're orange as well. Wait a minute. Hold on. How is that possible? But then when you put in just auto color in Photoshop, hit auto color, the wheels are now black like they're supposed to be. The ground's not orange. Everything, all the colors become natural again. So how is that possible? So you can see that they're putting this orange filter over everything. Whether it's using it on the Molly cam has its own little door. It's like a little filter cover. Just they can raise it up and then drop it down, and it makes everything orange. Look it up, Molly cam, and you'll see the little cover on it. It opens and closes like an eyelid, and they can just change it. If they don't want it, they just leave it all orange. So why do that? It's to stop you from seeing any color that would stand out. And then, of course, a shape of something. If everything's the same color and they blend it, you can't see individuality, and you can't see the color, the actual real color of it. So therefore, it doesn't stand out at you. And that's the whole idea. Then they lay like this layer of crap over the photos So you're basically going to burn through it to actually see the object, find the lines to it, the object will pop. That's basically what it comes out to. Oh, just got a troll. Whoopsh. See a troll. James Craig and two Russian academics have written a book about the material from the moon that is made from something that is made to protect from impacts. That would explain the depths of the craters on the moon. That's absolutely true. It would. Absolutely. The pyramids are a giveaway. I think there is stuff way older, and that's where I believe there was people and stuff on Mars, and we came to Earth by other beings. Oh, absolutely, could very well be. Oh, I hate it when this does this. See, I see you guys actually going back and forth with each other too, which is cool. I'm just trying to find the actual questions. Okay, there we go. Craig MK3, he said, has anyone seen John Leonard Walton's SSP craft that he allegedly catches on his telescope? That's all pretty incredible stuff. If it's genuine, stuff of it's genuine. I haven't seen it. I'd have to look for it to see, but I mean, a lot of people have caught some crazy things, and of course, they've done their research, like Richard Hoagland and stuff like that, where they've done research into the NASA photos and a lot of other stuff, and found some pretty incredible stuff. Some stuff could be dismissed, but some stuff is actually pretty cool. And you just have to discern which is crap and what's not, right? All right, JR Metal Composer 74. Thank you, Chris. I enjoy your channel very much. Got to go. Hope the rest of your weekend is pleasant. Take care. Well, you do the same. Mr. Composer 74. Have yourself a good one. Have a good week coming up there, right? Oh, okay. Cask. Done, Chris. Cheers. You can say cast. It's fine, right? Oh, okay. So what you're telling me is I actually hacked your name. Sorry about that if I messed that up a little bit. James Cragen, yeah, man, I agree with you on the UFO name. Yeah, just leave it be. To me, it just seems stupid, right? Leave it the way it was. Mike Blake, hey, I downloaded a photo of one of your videos from Mars. I did not expect to see much, but would like to send it to you. Very interesting. Yeah, you can go to my Facebook Mars Anomalies page. You can put it there if you got Facebook. Or Mars Anomalies at AOL.com. You can do that too. Richard, I guess you're agreeing with these other guys. His moon pics are unbelievable for zoom and clarity. Yeah, I'll probably have to do that. Just slow it down a little bit. Yeah, because it's crazy. Trying to get everybody's here and Craig MK3, yes, so many fakes. Fake ones on YouTube. That's why I look At Chris, the truth and nothing other than the truth. Well, and that's the thing, guys. Listen, I'm not going to BS anybody. It is what it is. I get the pictures I showed you guys, and we all just check them out together. And the thing that does it for me more than anything, it's paid off for me, is that a lot of people have been getting Photoshop, or they literally just grabbed the photo from the link that I show you guys, and it's the raw photo. That's what I get from NASA. I believe in showing the links because people can actually analyze this stuff themselves. And then you go, hey, I agree or I disagree. You're more than welcome to do that. You know what I mean? It's a free country, or countries, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm not gonna crucify somebody for their opinion. That's their business, and that's how they feel. I haven't heard of it, Renee. You put on there, Chris. What do you think about the gigantic blue origami space station in interstellar outer space? It's shaped like a pussycat, I think. I have no idea. I don't know if anybody else has heard about it, but I haven't. No, Susan Ann. No, I don't see it. Those craters he's put on there's no those craters. So no debris in them, and something hitting and to make a hole and straight on. No trail and travel marks. 99.9% of them. I don't know if you guys have seen any ones that look like they come in from a certain angle and have a tail on them. You actually see them come in and actually, make an elongated crater. I haven't seen any. And if you do, it's like 0.1%. Just about every one of them. Here's the curvature. Literally just boom, just comes straight in. It makes no sense that it does that. Maybe somebody else has seen like a elongated crater that something's come in and skidded into the lunar surface. I haven't. And you would think now a lot of these do have debris in the center, but again, they're just no deeper. And then some of them are completely smooth, not a thing in the center, nothing there to say. How is that possible? It's not like they have bad weather and it just weather it, so I don't know. Uh, Cask, you can get it. You can get either. They have free versions of it. They have the older versions that are Photoshop if you wanted to get it, and you can check it out yourself. What was the other one too? There was another popular one that was another photo imaging. It's like a manipulation software. Donnie from his channel has videos of crafts entering and exiting the deeper hole craters. Yeah, I'll have to check that out, definitely. Yeah, I do, James. He said, Chris, would you agree with with Graham Hancock that there were civilizations that were more advanced in certain areas, but have been wiped out due to the catastrophic or catastrophe from an impact of a meteor 12,500 years ago? I'm not sure of the actual how many years it was, but like I said, he has many people have said, like, yeah, we've been around for many years, and that like again, we have like amnesia, like from way back in our past. We don't know what happened, and we're just now starting to learn all over again from stuff we're finding. Um, yeah, I believe there were, and this is the reason why they could build some of these things, like like the pyramids. You just go in them things, just try to put a razor blade in between the blocks. Good luck with that. It's crazy. And after all these years, how much do you think each of those blocks weigh? And of course, they broke it down. They tell you how much weight the average block is, and all that weight in one area. Of course, it's a large area. And yet the thing's still pretty darn straight after all these years. Of course, they do say it's a lot older than it is. Even the Sphinx is supposed to be a lot older than the pyramids. Heck, I even heard that the Egyptians didn't even build the pyramids. They came along, found them, and they just that was it. They made it their home. So, and that's why you got a lot of these pyramids that are just not perfect. Like they just like stepped ones, but they're all distorted. They try to make them and try to perfect them like they did, couldn't do it. This is the reason why you got a lot of these weird looking pyramids where they failed to make them perfect, and like the ones at Giza, the largest ones and stuff. JD, Chris, if you can see my YouTube display picture, it's of NASA Mars pic. Okay. Richard Frost, John Leonard Walton, 2019. Check it out, Chris. He must have a pretty expensive setup because his vids are way closer on the moon. Huh. No, yeah. Like I said, I have to check into it. Like I said, I'm not familiar with a lot of any of his videos, to be truthful. Yeah, guys, smash them thumbs up. Hit them like buttons. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, you're right. And Photoshop can be expensive, basically, but there is a free Photoshop like software that you can download. Yeah, absolutely. There was another one I was using years ago, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's another one out there that's pretty good. Maybe I did. Maybe I heard about it. Turkish UFO at Craig MK3. I really want to see it again or not. Chris will do. Cheers at D. I don't recall. Change username only. Yeah, well, Alien Tenno, I think they even go further back than that. You put on the water erosion on the Sphinx dates back to at least 12,000 years. Yeah, I think it even goes back further than that, way further than that, like double that, if not more. The more and more they look into this thing, the more they're finding it. Now they found like this underground cavern. I don't know if you've seen that, just under the Sphinx. There's actually two now that are quite large. And they've seen that through radar imaging, because they get these little portable ones they can literally go over the ground, and they found like these giant rooms underneath the actual Sphinx. So, yeah, I did, James. In fact, I'm trying to remember what the heck it was now. If I can remember the channel, where's where it was. Hmm, I won't be able to find it now. But yeah, you said in there, did you ever see the documentary about the deep sea divers in the Baltic Sea that found a craft at the bottom that is very like a craft that slid along the ocean? I have. Um, yeah, my buddy Thomas Schroeder, he's actually got like three or four parts of his name, but he actually did a documentary with these guys that actually dove down and found this thing themselves. And they're like, it's nothing we've ever seen. Now they don't know if it's an actual structure, um, that it's an ancient structure, and of course, the way the current goes around this thing, it gives it that weird tail look. So they don't know if it's literally skid into it or if it's like the flow of the ocean floor that's making it look like it's got a tail. Like in other words, it's hitting it from the round side and then coming in like a tail on the opposite. So yeah, Studious Realism. Good to see you in there. Doing Hurricane Dorian right now. Yeah, you're right. There you go, Richard. Yeah, GIMP. That's the one I was using before. GIMP is actually pretty good. It's not like Photoshop. You get a lot more options, but GIMP is actually pretty good if you're just starting out and you're just wanting to do a little bit of something to these photos. Yeah. Renee, you put Greg, there's a video from the country of Turkey where a UFO appeared for several days and someone got the closest image of the starcraft hovering in the sky. That'd be pretty interesting. I'd like to check that out myself. Yeah, very much older than the Sphinx, 100% sure. Oh, yeah. Hmm. Richard Mortimer, or Mortimer. I read somewhere that the people in Antarctica found neat and large stacks of anthracite coal as if it were supposedly, or purposely rather, purposefully stockpiled, all under the ice. Wouldn't surprise me if there's ancient civilizations there too, because at one point there was no ice there, right? So who said there couldn't be, settlements and civilizations there too, right? Wouldn't surprise me. Photography, light, and magic. Yes, it is. Absolutely. GIMP is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. And it's free. Absolutely is. That video was good, the one from Turkey. I'm almost positive I've seen it, but I'm going to have to look for it again just to be sure. It is pretty interesting. Alien Tano, yeah, the pyramids giveaway is this: walking through them narrow, deep corridors. There's no burn marks in the walls from the flame torches. Well, that's the thing too. I don't know if you guys. I think it was on Ancient Aliens where they talked about that. They're saying how do they get the light into there, and of course they tried to simulate it by using these big copper. I don't know if you guys have seen them, like copper plates. And what they did was, um, they tried to reflect it from one to the other down the halls. And of course, after a while, because they're not highly reflective and they're just gold or brass, that they only reflected only so far. So it kind of defeated the purpose, right? Um, uh, so I found that interesting too. There was no torch marks, like you said. If they put them in a hole, there wasn't like any kind of soot or anything like that on the sides of the wall. None of that. So it really does make you wonder, right? Hoaxes say it is fake, but the person recording first shot from the widest angle of the whole city and zooms super duper close to the extraterrestrial alien UFO. You can see through the windows and see ET aliens. I think I did see that, and it was. You can see two of them like right on the side of each other through the windows. Yeah, Daniel, you're right. I don't believe that the helicopter's not going to have a camera on it. If so, it's hard to believe. Yeah, I mean, because I think I'd put one on there. Think about it. It makes sense to put one on there. What's the worst going to happen? They're saying, well, it's trial and error. Well, what happens if the thing does take off? Oh, darn, should have put a camera on it. I think they're going to put a camera on it because what do they got to lose? What's the worst going to happen? It's not going to fly. Okay. So if it doesn't fly, then the whole thing goes into flop. But if if it does, oh, thank God we put that camera on there. Now we can actually start doing some work. Yeah. And well, here's the crazy part too, guys, is that this 2020 is supposed to have multiple microphones on it as well. So that should be interesting. Can't wait for that. Port Garden. I think I seen a documentary on Egypt that the pyramids of the Egypts came, well, the Egyptians, I guess, came along and used forces and worked out how they could get electric and so on. That made it out to be a tomb by protecting history. Well, that could be too. But I mean, the largest one of Giza it has nothing in it. No, it's not a burial tomb. Has nothing in it, which is really crazy, right? Uh, Cask put on here at Photography, Light and Magic. Cheers, mate. You saved me quite some of the huge amount of pounds here. Thank you. Well, yeah, and guys, that's the thing, save a little bit of that cash, man. Get that freebie. Yeah, it's hard to believe I've seen it. If so, it is the best photograph I've never seen a UFO with grays looking out. Yeah, it seemed to me that like there was two of them, almost like in the windows right in the middle, and you can actually see these things. If it's the one I think it is, wait until they catch audio. Oh, just jumped up on me. Then claim there are low quality mics and audio recording. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. Less sweet. Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me. Because here's the thing. you know, first of all, if they're gonna send this information, because basically it's gonna do this, you're gonna have the helicopter send it to the actual rover, and then of course the rover is gonna uplink it to a orbiting spacecraft, and then of course it's gonna send it here to Earth. Um, but it's a whole lot easier to send an audio byte, than there is to a decent sized photo, right? So they should have no problem sending these audio bytes, and we'll hear what it sounds like. But how do we know what it's going to sound like up there? We might hear, well, you might hear one or two of them with wind. You know, go, okay, we already know it's windy up there. But how do we know what else? I mean, what happens if they let out a recording and you hear like a bird or some kind of weird thing? Life. So they're going to have to be really careful about that and what they do and how they go about that. Uh, oh, okay. Craig, it's called Turkey UFO Incident 2008. Okay. I have to look for that myself. Um, if you want to, if you want to know what is really on Mars, we wait for Musk. Well, like I said, I mean, to me, I mean, unless he goes to Mars himself, once if they actually make that trip, and it's supposed to be 2034, 35, whatever it is. Um, the only way I can see it is if he's there. What are they going to do? Arrest him? If he says, by the way, guys, and he sends the information back, not through NASA, but through his own network, and says, look, it's really here. That's the only way that's going to happen, because he's working with NASA right now, hand in hand. So you can bet he's going to be like, shh, mum's the word. And he's not going to let out any information that the powers to be don't want to be let out. But you can bet, if you imagine being there and then all of a sudden you decide to, what are they going to do? Kill me? I'm just going to go ahead and send this information back to a reliable source here on Earth and then let it out. That would be interesting. Mars anomaly, I believe that the pyramids might have or had something to do, or I'm sorry, something to connect energy to the moon and back to it. Well, they also said too that at some point maybe there was like spacecraft out in space, and these things would get the power from these uh, pyramids themselves. How true that is, I don't know. To me, that's just pure speculation. But if they were used in some kind of wireless energy, it wouldn't surprise me. Because, like I said, they thought it was some kind of burial chamber. They're going, there's no burial chamber really per se, and there's uh, no hieroglyphs, no writing on nothing in the pyramid. It's just plain Jane, and yet you can see what it looks like. There's columns have been taken out of the corridor, and there's several things that are missing from the pyramid. So somehow there was that thing was used for something much more than just a burial, right? Yeah, alien tunnel. Yeah, Musk is in NASA's pocket now. Well, I mean, I don't think he's basically be like kind of like a puppet to him, but I mean, they are working side by side, so therefore he's just going to be like everybody else in NASA and everything. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing here to see, guys. Nothing here to see. Photography, light, and magic. Any sound they would capture would be subsonic at best. I'm a sound engineer. Yeah, I mean that's a good possibility. But on the other side of the token, they did have. I'm trying to remember. Even the Insight lander. Remember they had that the sound. They said the sound of Mars, and of course um, it was just a vibration on the actual. What was it? The not the radar. What was it? The well, it's basically ground penetrating radar. Basically, they dropped it there and stuff like that, but they can hear the wind going off the actual craft, and it sounded like people were saying, "Well, it sounded like wind." To me, it sounded like some people said it was something traveling underneath the surface of Mars. Again, could be true, um, or it was something just vibrating, and it wasn't the actual craft. It was something else. Me, it sounded more like thunder. You can hear it, and then it just dropped down. It almost sounded like a thunderstorm kind of thing. And why would that be far fetched? They said there's bad weather. And if you got these temperature swings going from extremely cold to extremely hot, I can't imagine that the weather's calm all the time. It's got to be turbulent at times. What happens when you have a cold front come into a real hot front here on Earth? Although the atmosphere is different, so we expect differences, but still, it doesn't mean it can't be without any kind of thunder or something. I hope you put on there. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet, putting a mic on the rover so we can hear what's up there. I think, to be truthful with you guys, I think they've done this years ago, and I've said this before. I think they did it on the Viking lander back in 1975. Because, like I said, if you're all sitting around trying to put a craft together and you come up with, all right, what do you want to put on it? First two instruments should be eyes and ears. That's to me. Forget about anything else. Eyes and ears. And it wouldn't, again, the information is so small compared to an actual photo upload. You can do a short audio bite, even if it's 5 seconds. How much information can that take compared to a photo? So to me, I think they've done it a long time ago. They're just kind of like, okay, we'll do it again, but this time we'll just be kind of, quiet about it. Apparently, in a documentary cast, not knowing if it is tried, but the moon was here before the Earth. Well, that's what they said. They're trying to say why is the moon so much older than Earth? That's why even back then they said even the ancient civilizations said they can remember a time when there was no moon, which is even crazier, right? So what did it do? It somehow got tagged along and dropped here into this orbit. Who knows? Yeah, I agree with you. Photography like magic. Elon must be a total idiot. Anyone who wants to nuke a planet that may have life on it. WTF, dude? What the? I mean, I agree. Now, if that's true, what Dr. Brandenburg had seen in 1941, he's seen these two large explosions over Mars. To me, that might have been the time that catastrophic moment happened. How do we know? It's really weird and it's complete speculation, but it's just like almost what would happen if you said, you know what, I need to find out what's on that planet. And let's say the people there, they knew just by observing them through either orbiters or just keeping an eye on them. How do they know? They said, you know what? Let's say the civilization's weak. They got nothing to protect themselves with. Let's just say, for argument's sake, how easy would it be to stomp them out? I mean, it's not like we don't do that here on Earth, right? We don't move people from these indigenous people from their islands. We don't just take over whatever we want. We don't do anything like that, right? So why would they do it on another planet? And think about it. If they nuked them, you got plenty of time for everything to settle. We can now go over there and just check everything out. Reason why we're here, right? Think about it. Now, I'm not saying that's what the case is. I'm just saying that is it a possibility? Well, you'd be right if they're accurate what they're telling us. Photography like magic. Sound is vibrations that travel through air molecules. 1% of molecules means 1% of sound. Anything heard would not be recognizable. I believe that the atmosphere is much thicker than they're saying, especially in Gale Crater, because they do say there is actually a water cycle there. The most concentration of air is at the ground level. I believe there's actually, like I said, a thicker atmosphere. So I think they can hear a lot more what than they'll be saying, right? Like you said, it may actually be subsonic. But being that I know just by putting all the puzzles, puzzle pieces, by putting all of those together, we can, like I said, we can guess it. Well, not guess, but we know that there's water cycle. There's the daytime gets up to anywhere between 70 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, you know, so to me, the air is actually thicker than they're saying. And like I said, it's almost like it's got its own ecosystem kind of thing going on right there in Gale Crater. And it wouldn't surprise me. So I think the air is thicker than what they're saying. And if that's true, you would agree that they would probably be able to get a better sound, right? 100% it's been done. It's the greatest story ever untold and the most important issue ever. Yeah, exactly. Alien Tenno. Yep, the Xenon 129 is what they found, and the MRO when it went into the lower atmosphere of Mars sniffed that out and could smell it from traveling right through the lowest part of the atmosphere, and the Curiosity rover also picked that up. Funny enough, like I said, the two explosions. One was at the face of Cydonia, the Cydonia region, and then I keep forgetting the other one, the one that's east of it. They had the very large one over the face of Cydonia and a smaller one over that other area. And like I said, guess where the rover is? Just south of it. Think about that. Is it mere coincidence that the rover's there? And why they picked them specific parts? Think about it. Yeah. And by the way, if that did happen, they're always talking about, oh, well, we don't want to contaminate Mars. If it's had a couple radiation explosions, that's a little late for that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, we did, Casca. Yeah, you said, Chris, we did speak about Musk ideas to Mars. Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, pretty much. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that they want to do, but I think these things were done already. Like I said, there's large explosions, and I think they maybe wanted to try to. They wanted to terraform the planet way back in the day. So when they do actually go to it, we can actually function on it. We can live on it. We can do all kinds of things. And like I said, after so many years, the radiation settles. It's now safer, right? Think Chernobyl. What happened then? And now you can actually go there. Of course, they say you can't just sit there and just you know live there. It's not still a good idea, but it's still you can still walk through there and be there for a short time with no problem at all. Jason Doherty, you put on there, Chris, what applications do you use for investigating Mars? Well, basically Photoshop. I use CS6. It's a professional one. So yeah. Hope you put on there. Do you think there's water on Mars like river, lakes, and oceans? Yeah, absolutely. And they've actually found a large lake underground next to the South Pole. You can look it up. And the only way that they found it was they did a radar imaging of that area. And what happened was they said that it has to be at least 12 feet deep for this craft to recognize it. So when they did that, they found that it was like a mile wide and it was only so high underground. So I don't know if it was like 2 feet, 3 feet, whatever it was. I forget what it is now because this is a while back that they found it, right? And so they found this like a mile wide under the ground. And like I said, they've got lakes. I've done videos where it looks like there's water there. You can see reflections of rocks near this water, but because it's all that orangey color, it hides the actual water. But yeah, absolutely. There's definitely there. Definitely water there. Richard Frost, night all. Thanks, Chris, for another great evening. Yep. Appreciate you being here, Richard. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you the next time, right? In fact, I'll be jumping off this myself. We're at 2 hours and 46 minutes into this bad boy. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump on out of here. I'm glad everybody showed up. I'm glad you guys were here. This always is a great time. I like spending the evening times with you guys on Sundays. If you guys haven't watched this latest video I just put out just before, in fact, it was today, go ahead and check it out. And like I said, thanks to everybody being here, man. And like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, my channel wouldn't be here. So a big thanks to you guys. It's basically our channel. So again, thanks for being here. Always a pleasure being here with you guys. Anyway, guys, have a good one there. I got some more Mars coming up and some more moon. In fact, there's another one, like I said in my last video, that moon one, that this one here is hard to find, but there's something standing there right next to this astronaut. And you guys are going to see that one too. That one's coming up probably tomorrow, Tuesday. So look out for that one. And we're going to try to get more on there for you guys. Anyway, guys, have yourself a good one, man. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great week.